courthouse, built in the mid-19th century, framed by the St. Louis Arch, constructed in the 1960s. And in downtown St. Louis, welcome to the Dome at America Center, and out onto the field come the St. Louis Rams before a roaring capacity crowd, getting ready to take on Warren Sapp and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. I'm Al Michaels. Welcome to St. Louis. When this season began, the Tampa Bay Bucs were considered by a lot of people to be legitimate Super Bowl contenders. They have a great defense, and they upgraded their offense by obtaining Brad Johnson, who's done a pretty good job at quarterback. But this team is 4-5. They haven't strung back-to-back victories together all this season, and right now they are at a very critical juncture, in danger of falling 4 games back of Chicago in the NFC Central with a loss tonight. But if they can win, their next 2 games are against Cincinnati and Detroit, so they could climb right back in. But a tough task ahead tonight. On the road, they would have to beat the team with the best offense in the National Football League and the best record in the National Football League. The Rams are 8-1. They'd be perfect if they hadn't blown an 18-point lead at home to New Orleans last month. But 8-1 with Kurt Warner, with Marshall Faulk, they are the best team in the league. They are the best team to watch in the league on Monday night. Tonight's air and ground stats are brought to you by FedEx.
On January 23rd, 2000, St. Louis and Tampa Bay experienced a close encounter for the first time.
It is our destiny. 15 minutes, the Super Bowl, baby.
Kurt Warner takes back to throw, and it is touchdown. Listen to this crowd.
11 months later, it happened again.
Let's go! And Holt turns it back. Touchdown. And then he laterals it back to King. He's in. Oh, this is amazing. Unbelievable game.
Tonight, it's a close encounter for the 3rd time.
Face the best offense with the best weapons and the best quarterback. You gotta love that. On the best stage in the world. It's ABC Monday Night Football. You don't even need cable to watch this. So, we're ready.
Warren Sapp says the best quarterback. There he is. Man sitting next to me was a pretty good quarterback, and he can appreciate great quarterbacks. Nobody better than Kurt Warner right now, Dan.
You know, Al, there's nothing better for me than watching Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk operating this little offense at full speed. I think they're the best offense the league has ever seen. I know it's the best I've ever seen. The Buccaneers tonight have got to slow this game down. They got to force the Rams to take long drives and look for turnovers. Now, I know last year they beat them in a shootout, but they can't get trapped into thinking they can do it tonight.
It'd be more like the NFC Championship game when the final score was 11-6. Well, Dennis, here we are, the gateway to the West, St. Louis. What does it bring to mind?
Well, you know, Al, when I think of St. Louis, I think of one thing and one thing only: the preeminent aerial circus in the world today. The one, the only, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Indeed, Brad Johnson has thrown 7 more passes than Kurt Warner this year. Keeps that up. Keyshawn's next book might be just run the damn ball. Speaking of Key, he's got 71 passes this year and asserted himself as the preeminent wide receiver between the 20s in the National Football League. Sweating all the small stuff. Finally moving the sticks. Finally doing whatever he has to help his team win. In short, finally beginning to play like Wayne Corbett. Bino, we got a big one, baby. Let's rock.
Got to lead to the damn commercial so we can get the kickoff. It's going to be wild on Monday night. Tampa Bay against St. Louis.
You know that nobody's going to blow anybody out, and it's going to come down to the wire, and those are the fun games to play.
Monday Night Football, no other game on in the world, and we get that spotlight. That's something you must relish as a player in this league.
Kurt Warner's the best quarterback in the league, and there's little doubt who the best all-purpose running back is. Marshall Faulk of the St. Louis Rams. He's with Eric Dickerson.
Thanks, Al. Marshall, the last 4 weeks, the offense has averaged 474 yards per game. do you think that the offense is functioning as well as you've ever seen it?
It's functioning pretty well right now. I think that right now we're playing real good. This is the time where you want to peak. We're making our playoff run right now, trying to jockey for position to get home field and just trying to win all our ball games.
In the last 2 years, you've had a classic game with the Buccaneers. Do you feel that this defense is as good as they've been in the last year?
They're just as good. They just had some setbacks. They've had some things happen. A couple of key guys been hurt, but we're expecting a physical, hard-fought game tonight.
Thanks, Marshall. Back to you, Al.
All right, thank you, Eric. Kicking off will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we'll see the Rams offense in action immediately. Sold out at the Dome at America Center in downtown St. Louis. Warren Sapp and his defensive unit will be coming out onto the field. Martin Gramatica will be kicking off. His 48-yarder at the gun last week that would have tied the game against Chicago hit the upright. And back to receive is Trung Canady, second-year back out of the University of Arizona, who did a great job filling in when Marshall Faulk missed 2 games early this year with a knee injury. It's a bouncing ball, and Canady juggles it. It's loose at the 18. He picks it up there and cannot get on track and is swarmed by the Buccaneers at the 20-yard line. Let's check in with Melissa Stark.
Since Mike Martz came to St. Louis as the offensive coordinator in 1999 and then became the head coach, the Rams have scored more points and racked up more yards than any other team in the NFL. Since Tony Dungy took over in Tampa in 1996, the Bucs have given up the fewest points and allowed the fewest yards in the NFL. Martz said that this is the defense that has given his offense the most problems, and during the offseason, when he redesigned St. Louis's defense, he modeled it after the Bucs. The ultimate compliment, Al.
And he brought in Lovie Smith, and we'll talk about Lovie when the Rams defense comes on the field. But right now, here is the show with Kurt Warner handing the ball off to Marshall Faulk. That's a gain of 3, 2nd and 7. Let's take a look at the St. Louis offense.
Kurt Warner, University of Northern Iowa.
Marshall Faulk, San Diego State. James Hodgins, San Jose State University.
Isaac Bruce, University of Memphis.
Big game, Torrey Holt, North Carolina State University.
Ernie Conwell, University of Washington.
Orlando Pace, The Ohio State University.
Frank Garcia, University of Washington.
Andy McCollum, University of Toledo.
Adam Timmerman, South Dakota State University.
Ryan Tucker, GCU.
On 2nd and 7 now over the middle. That's Torrey Holt calling himself Big Game as he introduced himself, and he picks up a first down.
You got to get the Rams offensive player introductions in right away, because you never know we're going to put points up on the board. You'll be on to the next thing.
Yeah, and the other thing is they change personnel every play. So even though you're introduced and being able to say that you're a big game player and all that, you may not even be in the game the next play.
Now Garcia's in instead of Newton. Does he get the umlaut over his name, Alan? How does that change the pronunciation?
Not tonight. Here's Warner on a quick count. Gives the ball to Faulk, and there goes Marshall up to the 41-yard line, and he's close to a first down. Tackled by Derrick Brooks.
And this is what Mike Martz reluctantly wants to do, is run the ball to force the Buccaneers out of their 2-deep coverage and make the safety come up and play 8 men in the box. Marshall sets up his blocking so well. That's a huge hole, but it's against the weakness of the defense. John Lynch playing the strong side, did come up late. Rams had the perfect play called for that.
So now it's 2nd and inches from the 40-yard line on the game's opening drive. The play fake, and Warner under pressure, and down he goes. He gets thrown down by Jamie Duncan. So in effect, the Rams figured they had a free play, take one shot downfield, 2nd and inches, and all of a sudden now it's 3rd down and about 7.
I think this blitz by Duncan caught the Rams by surprise. Duncan, who has no sacks on the year, coming in, picks up his first one. Here is number 59, kind of a delay blitz. What happens, you see Hodgins on the ground there. He was helping out inside on Warren Sapp. That freed Duncan to come on the delayed blitz, and it paid off.
19th time that Warner has been sacked this season in this game, number 10. 3rd and 6 from the 35-yard line. Warner goes to the left side, and that is caught by Torrey Holt, and Holt has a first down. So Torrey Holt has picked up 2 first downs. That time Brian Kelly with the stop. Here's the Buck D.
Marcus Jones, University of North Carolina.
Anthony McFarland, LSU.
Warren Sapp, University of Miami Hurricanes.
Simeon Rice, University of Illinois.
Sheldon Quarles, Vanderbilt University.
Jamie Duncan, Vanderbilt University.
Derrick Brooks, Florida State University.
Brian Kelly, University of Southern California.
Rondé Barber, University of Virginia.
John Lynch, Stanford University.
Dexter Jason, Florida State University.
And here's Warner setting up a screen, and he lofts it into the arms of Conwell, and Ernie Conwell turns it into a big gain all the way inside the 30 to the 26-yard line. Perfectly thrown pass.
And it was, again, the perfectly called play because the Rams faked the run at John Lynch, who was up at the line of scrimmage, and threw back to the weak side. So the Rams have hit the weak side twice here. Conwell does a super job of faking on Simeon Rice, and what a pass over Simeon Rice by Kurt Warner. 6'5" Rice gets way up in the air here, but not quite high enough.
Well, Martz flat out said he thought Conwell was playing the best tight end in the NFL right now.
Got it over Rice, who is 6'5", and Warner takes the timeout. That's something the Rams do with some frequency. They burn early timeouts, and they do here after a gain of 32. Monday Night Football is brought to you by Beechwood Aged Budweiser, with a crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. FedEx, Ground, International, Online, or Express. There's a FedEx for that. Charles Schwab, expert advice that's objective, uncomplicated, and not driven by commission. And Dodge, you can take life as it comes. You can grab life by the horns. Dodge.
Now, do you trust any financial advisor who's not driven by commission?
Not recently.
I want the guy to be full of avarice.
I just trust Squawk Box. 1st and 10. Here is Warner. Pump faking, throwing, and it's incomplete. Isaac Cruz had gotten loose in the end zone, but was losing his balance, and Warner couldn't connect with him.
You know, I think when he pump faked and had to move up into the pocket, that threw the timing off just enough, Al, to where he hurried that throw to Bruce and then overthrew him.
You know, usually his passes are so on the dime, Dano, you can still catch him when you're falling down.
Yeah, John Lynch is well aware of that, Dennis. He's the heart and soul of that secondary. The Rams will be looking to see where he lines up, either up in the box as the 8th man up or playing in the 2 deep. You know where Lynch would rather play, up close to that line of scrimmage.
Split backs in this set, 2nd down. Conwell stays in the block, and that pass is incomplete over the middle. Brooks goes down, and Jamie Duncan knocked it down.
And I think somebody might have got a hand on Warner's arm as he released that ball. As soon as he let it go, he turned around to see who tapped him on the shoulder. Looks like Warren Sapp just got his right hand up there to force that ball out of a tight spiral that Warner normally throws.
Well, Brooks the leading tackler in Buccaneer history, but you can see why as of this moment he is not the leading interceptor.
3rd down and 10 from the 26-yard line on the game's opening drive. Warner has protection, throws over the middle, and it's incomplete, and getting free was Isaac Bruce.
But there's so many defenders. The Bucs only rushed 3 men that time out. They dropped 8. And that really made it difficult for Warner to stick it in there to Bruce. Top of the screen, it's a post route. And again, he has to throw it over a linebacker. Derrick Brooks right there, number 55, may have disrupted Bruce's concentration.
Who turned around just a tad late. This is a 44-yard attempt now for Jeff Wilkins to try to give St. Louis the lead, and he does. 4 minutes, 3 seconds into the game. Jeff Wilkins puts St. Louis on the board. Rams 3, Bucs nothing. Next week, Brett Favre in action on Monday Night Football. The Packers coming off their Thanksgiving win over Detroit, a mark of 7-3, and 1 game back of Chicago in the NFC Central at Jacksonville. Thursday, ESPN has the Eagles and Chiefs. That's Thursday night on ESPN.
I've been waiting on that Pack-Jaguar game all year, my friend. You tune in, folks. You'll see the beauty. Trust me.
Here's Wilkins kicking off. Back to receive it is Frank Murphy from the 1. And Murphy, with a burst of speed up the middle, comes all the way back out to the 28-yard line. Let's take a look at the Tampa Bay offensive unit.
Brad Johnson, Florida State University.
Warwick Dunn, Florida State.
Mike Allstott, Purdue.
Keyshawn Johnson, the real USC.
Riedel Anthony, University of Florida.
Dave Moore, University of Pittsburgh.
Kenyatta Walker, University of Florida. Randall McDaniel, Arizona State.
Jeff Christie, Pitt.
Cozy Coleman, University of Tennessee. Jerry Wunsch, University of Wisconsin.
McDaniel and Christie, two longtime Vikings who came over last season, as Brad Johnson, another ex-Viking, gets sacked on the first play. Chidi Ahanotu, the ex-Buck, who's been involved in a war of words with Warren Sapp, his ex-teammate, says take that on the first play.
And how interesting is it to hear the crowd here in St. Louis cheer louder for the defense than they do for the offense?
Ahanotu is unblocked as the Rams brought Rich Cody, who's filling in for Adam Archuleta on the safety blitz. So Lovie Smith knows this offense. He knows where it's weak. He's coming at him with full speed blitzes on the first play.
Ahanotu's second sack of the year. The other came last week at New England. 2nd and 18. On the ground to give it to Warrick Dunn, and he goes nowhere, bothered by a foot injury. Let's take a look at the Ram defense.
Chidi Ahanotu, University of California.
Brian Young, University of Texas, El Paso.
Jeff Scadina, Purdue University.
Grant Wistrom, University of Nebraska.
Tommy Pollard,
Florida State University.
London Fletcher, John Carroll University.
Mark Fields, Washington State University.
Aeneas Williams, Southern University.
Dexter McLeon, Clemson University.
Rich Cody, Texas A&M University. Tim Herring, Penn State University.
Rams -3 key defenders because of injuries. On 3rd and 18, screen set up to Dunn, but he can only pick up 5, and so it's 3 and out on the first drive. That's Brian Young, the tackle, making the stop. 4th and 13.
And 3 impressive plays by the Rams defensive linemen. Ahanotu on the sack on first down, and then Brian Young showing outstanding hustle on the last 2 plays, running Warrick Dunn down from behind on that one.
Lovie Smith, who last year was the linebackers coach under Tony Dungy at Tampa Bay and has done just a magnificent job. If there was such a thing as coordinator of the year, he'd be the leading candidate. Here's Mark Royals punting. Oz Hakeem back to accept it at the 34-yard line, and he fumbles as he is prone to do, and the Bucs come up with the ball at the 26-yard line. Hakeem had been hurt, and Mike Martz was telling us yesterday he probably won't run punts back. And here he is running back the first one, but he coughs it up, and Dwight Smith recovers.
Martz said that Hakeem would not return unless his ankle was 100%. And if you look at this replay, you can see that he's not 100%. Unsure of his ankle, then unsure where he's got to go, and then not protecting the ball as it gets punched loose there by Jeff Gooch.
Kind of reminds you last week when we had Kerry Collins, Dan. Some guys just don't seem to have that good awareness of when it's time to completely cover the ball up.
When you have an injury, we've got something down on the field here, Al.
Well, it's interesting. The play was blown dead, though nobody made the tackle. When you look at the replay again, Smith comes up with the ball, and then the play gets blown dead, but I don't think anybody had tackled Smith.
No, and this is not a muff. This is a fumble because he had it in possession when Gooch popped it loose. Now Smith falls on the ball here.
Ball was fumbled, recovered by the kicking team. A whistle was blown after the kickers recovered. It's a first down, Tampa Bay.
Well, that's Ron Blum, the official, and what he's basically saying, and the word he left out was inadvertently. Absolutely. Because the whistle was blown inadvertently because Smith could have gotten up and run with the ball. We'll play it out for you here.
No question that it's a fumble, and Smith goes down and gets it, and he's just surrounded by teammates. This is a potential touchdown here, although O.J. Brigance jumped on his back, so it would not have been a touchdown for Tampa.
But he would have picked up a few more yards. They blew the play dead before it was really dead. 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. Brad Johnson trying to capitalize on this big break. He's hit as he throws, and thus it's thrown away. Keyshawn Johnson, the nearest receiver, but around the leg of Brad Johnson and forcing the errant throw. The Ram defensive line led by Grant Wistrom.
You know, I was teasing Keyshawn up at top of the show, but I mean, 71 catches. It is pretty amazing that a guy with those skills has not gotten into the end zone yet, Dano.
And the amazing thing is that's why they brought Keyshawn Johnson. That's why they traded 2 #1 picks to the New York Jets for Keyshawn, because they liked his size and the way he uses his body in the red zone, in the end zone.
One of those picks has turned out to be John Abraham. The linebacker doing a great job for Herman Edwards. 2nd and 10. And this is Warrick Dunn picking up 3 to the 22-yard line.
But this is where the Buccaneers have got to capitalize. They got what they wanted from special teams. They got the turnover early. They've got great field position. Now they've got to get touchdowns. They can't afford to settle for field goals here. They have to take the lead on the Rams.
You saw Warrick Dunn, his 2.8 average is the lowest among the regular running backs in the league. And contrast that with Marshall Faulk, for instance, who comes into the game averaging 5.5, almost double. 3rd down and 6. Johnson throws over the middle to the tight end. That's Dave Moore over the middle. 1st down at the 13-yard line. He's tackled by the middle linebacker, London Fletcher.
Well, interesting with all the weapons at their disposals on both sides of the ball. The coaches decided to get the tight ends involved early between Conwell.
And what this does is it beats the blitz. That's Rich Cody's strong safety. And he was in coverage. But Brad Johnson, the veteran quarterback, saw him blitzing. That's his hot receiver, Moore. That's a huge conversion on 3rd down for the Buccaneers.
At the 13 now, 1st and 10, Tampa Bay halfway through the opening quarter. Rams up 3-0. To the ground to Dunn. Spin move. Picks up a couple. Gets to the 11. Aeneas Williams, the longtime Cardinal, now in his 1st year as a Ram, makes the stop. Talking about Dunn, who's been bothered with a sprained foot. He hasn't been himself, and there it is. And look at those names. Dunn with the lowest average. Eddie George, the 2nd lowest. Lamar Smith coming off a great year with Miami, and James Jackson of Cleveland all under 3.
Hey, Lamar's still getting out of the whirlpool from that playoff game last year.
A lot of Pro Bowls on that list.
2nd and 8 from the 11-yard line. Johnson. And he throws that one away.
And, you know, this is a mirror image as defenses of each other. Because Lovie Smith was with Tampa, that time you saw Clyde Christensen, offensive coordinator, and Brad Johnson saw a 3-man rush out of the Rams that time. They decided to drop 8. So this is the ultimate chess match between coaches who are very familiar with not only the personnel but the different schemes.
Christensen, the 3rd different Tampa Bay offensive coordinator in the last 3 years. Tony Dungy just trying to find the right mix. Mike Morris looks up at the clock. 3rd down and 8. Keyshawn Johnson wide to the right. They set it up for Dunn on the screen to the left side, and Warrick Dunn can fight his way only to the 7, where he's tackled by Mark Fields, setting up a 4th down and 3 and bringing in Martin Gramatica.
Well, Martin usually automatic, a bit of a grammatical error last week when he hit the pole on his 48-yarder at the end of the game. I love to talk with the coach afterwards. What could they? He's like Latka Gravitz from Taxi. I hit ball, score zone, would appear, plunk, no point. what could he possibly be saying?
With Joe Marciano. Well, I talked to Joe before the game, and Martin said, Joe, I hit the, I go for the upright. The wind is blowing. I think it has a draw. It goes straight. 25-yarder by Gramatica, and that one is no good. Here we go again.
Shank the lob wedge.
Sculled it.
Out of bounds. 3-0 St. Louis.
Best runner in the game. Best weapon in the game. I mean, you put the ball in his hands, he can take it to the house from anywhere on the field at any given time. He must be accounted for.
I think SAPP, in his own lexicon, paid Falk the highest compliment when he called him a monster in our meeting. Ordinarily, that would not be too praiseworthy a note, but I think when Warren says it, he means it in the highest form.
Monsters, Inc.
Sell the soap. Sell the soap.
From the 20-yard line. Here is Falk. And that's why he's a monster, because he goes through the middle, and he keeps chugging, and he picks up 8 yards, and he's tackled by Derrick Brooks. Marshall Faulk, in his 3rd year now, came over in that trade with Indianapolis when Indianapolis decided Edgerrin James on this panel right here would be their guy as they drafted him. But over a 37-game span, in other words, encompassing his Ram career, there it is, more yardage than Jim Brown gained over a 37-game span during his career, and that's John Lynch, a very key Tampa Bay defender, of course, the strong safety who comes gimping off.
Yeah, this is not good news for Tampa Bay. He coordinates his defense, and he's a huge hitter. Although he misses this time, got hit by Dexter Jackson. But Marshall is well aware of John Lynch. They had some huge collisions last year down in Tampa Bay. Also some times when Lynch would fire that big shot and miss, as he did that time.
Well, David Gibson, second-year defensive back out of USC, the 6th-round draft choice, is now the guy on the spot at strong safety. Second down and a short 2 from the 29-yard line, and they give it to the up-back. And this is Robert Holcomb picking up the short yardage and moving the chains as they work on Lynch.
I think that's a graphic depiction of why Lynch probably plays full bore all the time. It always happens to you when you're not initiating the contact. Caught it from the side from his teammate. Seems to be always the quirky, inadvertent hit that hurts you.
He's so quick to fill that hole. Was coming up full speed. Marshall gave him a great move. Caught him off balance. And that's actually, Marshall put a move on Jackson, too.
1st and 10 up at the 31. St. Louis 3, Tampa Bay nothing. That was Grammatica's first miss under 30 yards in his 3-year career, by the way. Warner throws over the middle. There is the Reverend Isaac Bruce, and he takes the ball into Tampa Bay territory.
Looks like the guys are all breaking out their best spin moves tonight. I think that's the 4th one we've seen already, although that one was initiated by a big hit, Dano.
A lot of people want to know why Warren Sapp only has 3 sacks on the year. Well, he gets double teamed on almost every pass play. Timmerman and Tucker that time. Warner mobility in the pocket, and here comes your spin move, Dendu. The quickness of Bruce picks up an extra 3 yards.
2 from Warwick, 1 from Azakim, 1 from Bruce.
It's a good move on this plastic surface.
We're at Winston-Salem with Pearl.
20-yard gain for Isaac Bruce. 4 minutes to go in the period. Toss it to Falk. He gives it on the end around Isaac Bruce, and Bruce gets tripped up and loses the ball. And the ball is apparently still alive, and it's going to be Tampa Bay's ball.
Hey, you can't ask for a better start for the Buccaneers than this. They did not capitalize on it for a touchdown or a field goal last possession when they had outstanding field position. Isaac Bruce with a fumble here, and now the Buccaneer offense again must capitalize.
And it's Warren Sapp who recovers it after the ball was knocked loose by Quarles. College football tripleheader coming up beginning at 1 Eastern and 10 a.m. Pacific. That's Miami #1 against Virginia Tech. Then in the middle of the afternoon, Oregon State, Oregon, Notre Dame, Purdue. And at night, the Big 12 championship game, Texas and the Colorado Buffaloes after that win over Nebraska on Friday. Johnson on first down throws. Mike Allstott sees his first action of the night. And the fullback gets taken down by Aeneas Williams. What about John Lynch? Melissa, what do you know?
Well, Al, it's good news for the Buccaneers. He has a bruised lower left leg. He will return, but it's something to keep an eye on.
Definitely. There he is trying to walk it off.
You know, I know
strong safety.
Nobody's really close to Warner as far as leading receivers and putting the ball exactly where it is. But if there is a guy in his league, it's Brad Johnson. Perfectly thrown pass down to the flat.
When he has time to throw, he's got great mechanics.
2nd and 4 from the 48-yard line. Dunn. And Dunn gets tripped up at the 45-yard line. It's interesting that the Rams have given the ball up 29 times this season. That's more than 3 times per game. They lead the league in giveaways. They're -7 in the plus-minus department, meaning they've taken it away 22 times, but it doesn't seem to come back to haunt them very often.
It certainly doesn't. It's because of the mindset of Mike Martz and his quarterback, Kurt Warner. They know they're going to make big plays. They know they're going to have turnovers, but it doesn't bother them. It certainly doesn't bother Martz. He does not get conservative ever.
You can see most teams get killed when they lose the turnover battle. Not the Rams, though. 1st and 10. Here's Dunn. Runs into his own man. Ran into Kenyatta Walker and gets tackled after a gain of 3 at the 42-yard line. Ram defenders. And they're minus some key guys. Leonard Little out with an injury. Damian Lewis is gone for the season. Damian Lewis is one of their #1 draft picks. They had 3 of them in the 1st round. And Adam Archuleta is also out. He's been the strong safety starter. There he is at Arizona State. They expect him to come back next week, but 3 key guys are gone. And there's Don Davis, another linebacker and a former Tampa Bay Buck. 2nd down and 7, and the pass is caught out in the flat by Allstott, seeks the first down and gets it.
Now, Archuleta is probably the next John Lynch, Al, and that's why he's dinged. He throws his body around just like Lynch and caught one in the head last week.
The one thing about the Rams defense is that they play a lot of guys all the time anyway. So these backups that are playing tonight have already got a lot of experience in the system this year. There's Leonard Little on the sidelines. He's being replaced tonight by Chidi Ahanatu. We'll also see some of Ryan Pickett. But remember, the big play by Ahanatu on the first offensive play of the game for the Bucs.
Rich Cody is the strong safety tonight, replacing Archuleta. 1st and 10 from the 33, and a slant is caught by Riddell Anthony at the 25-yard line, and that's a gain of 9.
And that's the 2nd time the Buccaneers have thrown on 1st down, and Brad told me this is exactly what they need to do. Before Brad Johnson got here, the Buccaneers were completing passes at a rate of about 50%. Perfect slant route there to Anthony. That was with Trent Dilfer and Sean King, but with Brad now they're up to 63%. His goal tonight to complete passes at 70%.
Cleon was playing that like he was between a rock and an interception. He didn't quite know whether to bring the hammer down or go for the ball.
So Sean King, who's the backup quarterback now, the starter last year, 2nd and 1. They give it to Allstott. He picks up the first down. You know, the Buccaneers picked up Brad Johnson. He was a free agent, and everybody around the league thought that Brad was a lock to wind up in Baltimore after they let Dilfer go because he'd worked with Brian Billick at Minnesota. And all of a sudden, Tampa Bay comes into play, and he winds up as a Buck, and Gerback goes to Baltimore.
Yeah, a lot of factors that went into his decision, and one of them being he wanted to play for a team that had not won a Super Bowl. Well, he's got that team.
Nice to see Elvis earn his Charm City Spurs yesterday, huh? Good man.
Baltimore beating Jacksonville at the end. End of 1, Rams 3, Bucks nothing, and Monday Night Football returns after this from our ABC station. And here we go. The second period commences. 3-0 Rams. 1st down for Tampa Bay at the 23-yard line. And Brad Johnson surveys with good protection, throws, and it's knocked down at the 1-yard line. Kim Herring came in to put the pop on Riddell Anthony. The Bucks, notoriously slow starters, they've scored only 16 points this season in the first period in this game number 10. Numbers through 1, Dan?
Yeah, you know, Al, the thing about the Buccaneers on offense tonight, they're really leaning heavily on both Warrick Dunn and Mike Allstott. 15 plays so far in the game. 12 of them have been directed either handed or passed to Dunn and Allstott.
Keyshawn has not caught a pass yet. 2nd down and 10 from the 23. And here's Dunn trying to turn the corner. And he gets grabbed from behind, but actually is able to stay on his feet and turn what would have been about a 5-yard gain into about a 10-yard gain. And I think he had...
Yeah, you know what he did is he came down on top of it, never touched the ground, and he stole about 5 more yards. Look how quick he is. Set up that move with a little juke move. He never was touched. Outstanding awareness.
11-yard gain for Dunn. Big play, takes the ball to the 12-yard line. Opening minutes, 2nd quarter. Play clock ticking down, and Johnson was frantically trying to get his offense set, and then we have a whistle here for a possible challenge. And one of the reasons Johnson was getting up there so quickly is they perhaps didn't want that call to be challenged. Mike Martz will challenge that Dunn was tackled.
Challenging the ruling on the field regarding the end of the run spot.
So they're going to say they'll go back and look at it and see if Dunn was actually down earlier.
And if this challenge is not taken by the replay here, the Rams will have lost a 2nd timeout. But his knee touched down at about the 15-yard line.
And right there, it looks like he just sat back into a big beanbag of humanity.
It was 2nd and 10 from the 23. So the initial contact has made it about the 18-yard line. And then by the time he's able to crawl forward and is stopped, he has a first down at the 12-yard line.
Yeah, I think that's the point that Martz is trying to make is when he hits his knee at the 15, where's the ball? Is it all the way to the 13 or is it at the 14-yard line? Remember, Warrick Dunn is not all that big at 5'9".
Mike Martz in each of the last 2 games has had a successful challenge, one against Carolina and one last week against the Patriots.
Well, other than his offensive wizardry, Al, that's why they brought Martz in. He's the best challenger in the business, bar none.
At least in recent history.
There, the knee goes down, and he's well short of the yellow line there.
They play the coolest replay challenge break music in the league here, man.
No question. Huh? St. Louis, it's the home of the blues, baby.
We're jamming, man. Get the extended dance play on this, Al. Let's work out some stuff. Move it. Al's like Janet Jackson 8 years ago up here. Got the midriff on. We're rocking.
I invented a twist, you know.
Chubby Michaels.
Chubby, yeah, that's right. I will be unless I get to Canyon Ranch pretty quickly. This will be if they rule his knee down, let's say at the 14-yard line, you're talking about a 3rd and 1 or 2. Let's see where they're going to place him. That's what Ron Blum is looking at right now. There's the knee. The ball is, let's say, at the 14-yard line. So they'd lose 2 yards, and you would have about a 3rd and about a yard and a half.
But okay, he gets up here and his knee touches, but nobody touches him when his knee's down. Is that?
Well, no, but all that contact
but all that
earlier,
stuff causes knee. Okay.
Right.
That's what caused him to lose his balance. Yeah.
Earlier contact created it.
Thank God my elders are here to counsel me.
We try to help, buddy.
All right.
Ron Blum, a golf pro, by the way.
Runner's knee was down when the ball was at the 14-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 1 at the 14. St. Louis is not charged a timeout. Set the clock to 14:46.
Well, not 14:46. It's 14. Well, 14:46 is all the way back. Almost the beginning of the period. Well, take a look at it. Maybe he is right.
There's the 14-yard line right about there.
So they win the challenge. They're not charged a timeout. The only downside to it would be it costs you a challenge. You're only allowed 2 per game, so he has only 1 for the rest of the game.
And I think Martz was really challenging that he was down when he was in that pile because there were he was on top of players, tacklers who are making contact on the ground.
I agree with you, Dan, because it's you know, it's kind of dubious if it's going to be 3rd and 1 to issue the challenge when you. I think you're right. I think he thought it would be more like 3rd and 5.
Plus, with his offense, the least of Mike Martz's concern is whether he has 3 challenges or 2.
2 or 1.
2 or 1.
So it's 3rd down and 1 now at the 14-yard line.
One thing the Buccaneers have been very good at this year is quarterback sneaking. Clyde Christensen says that Brad Johnson's 100% on quarterback sneaks. This one's a little bit longer than you would like, though. This is 3rd and what you might call, Al, that long one.
And this is a long delay, too. As it turns out, we've now been in about a 5-minute stoppage.
Now, Art Gilletta got off the IR in that break.
Rams went back to Anaheim in that break. 3rd and 1 at the 14. Alstott and Jameel Cook are in the backfield. Alstott lines up at tailback. Cook is the fullback. And they give it to Alstott, and Alstott gets stopped, but there's a flag down at the 16 for false start on Jerry Wunsch.
Boy, you don't see the Master Blaster stood up like that too often.
Before the ball was snapped, false start, 71 Tampa, 5 yards, repeat 3rd down.
So we go back to where Warrick Dunn was in that pile. Here's Wunsch, 71. Wunsch is going to flinch right there. He raised his haunches. Say Wunsch, flinch, and haunches.
I know, it's great. Between Wunsch and Gooch, you got the Scooby-Doo villains here tonight.
That's a sobriety test.
3rd down and 6 now at the 19-yard line. Buccaneers trying to cash in on another turnover. They didn't on the first. Johnson works out of the shotgun here. Protected well, throws, and it's caught by Johnson, and Keyshawn takes it to the 7. So a big first down. Keyshawn Johnson still hasn't gotten into the end zone, but catch number 72 for him.
And he makes a lot of catches this part of the field on crossing routes. He's such a big target at 6'4", 212. The ability to reach up and grab that ball, but not the ability to make a tackler miss to get into the end zone.
As much as Gramatica would like to see his team score, I bet you he also is thinking, well, if you don't, give me the chip shot. Let me get my head on straight again.
He'd like to kick an extra point is what he'd like to do. Ball at the 6-yard line on 1st down and goal. Allstott, and he rumbles into the end zone for a touchdown.
You talk about running downhill. That was like the man who skied down Everest.
Like people were trying to get out of his way. Man, great job of blocking on the right side by Cozy Coleman. Jerry Wunsch makes up for the penalty. Jeff Christie as well. Watch these guys right here. They just caved in that side. The Rams had a stunt to the weak side. Look at the Rams all take off. I'm not sure what they're reading there. London Fletcher with a false step cost them.
They had to put the extra point net up early just to stop ball stuff.
Gramatica for the point after. So after the Bruce fumble, they go 54 yards in 10 plays. And the 46th touchdown of Allstott's career, tying him with James Wilder for the Tampa Bay team record, gives the Bucs a 4-point lead. Mike Allstott, 6th year out of Purdue, been a mainstay since Tony Dungy came on. Scores here to make it 7-3, and now the Bucs cashing in on the Bruce fumble. The Rams have turned the ball over twice tonight with Martin Gramatica. Sending it down to Trung Candidate, who backs up from a yard deep in the end zone. Candidate, who might be the fastest of the Rams. A little hurdle action there brings him back to the 19-yard line, where with 13:10 remaining in the opening half, the Rams have it. Tampa Bay leading 7-3 in St. Louis. Well, our little Monday night family is grieving because we've lost George Romanski, who's been with Monday Night Football for 30 years. ABC engineer, recently passed away. To the Romanski family, our condolences. And I mean, George, around for 3 decades, a great man, and we are really going to miss him. St. Louis with the ball right now at the 20-yard line on 1st down as Kurt Warner throws, and on a slant, it's incomplete. Intended for Torrey Holt, covered by Rondy Barber, who has 6 interceptions this season.
Kurt Warner only completing half of his passes, and that's exactly what the Buccaneers need, is to try to frustrate a guy who's probably the coolest cat going at the quarterback position. Tough to get him rattled.
Warner, in his career as a Ram, now encompassing 2.5 seasons, has never had a game where he has completed less than 50% of his throws. This is his 9th toss of the night. Maybe. And yes, it is. And he gets it away on the run and skips it into Marshall Faulk. And let's check in with Melissa.
Al, before every game of John Lynch's 9-year NFL career, he has practiced the same ritual. Before he runs out onto the field, he reads an inspirational note from his wife, Linda, in the locker room. She writes a different note every week. She tells him good luck, and she also picks an angle from that game to motivate him. She puts the note in his bag before he leaves the house. It has become a superstition, and in tonight's note, she said, strap on your helmet, demand the best from yourself and your teammates. You've got to lay it all on the line.
She sounds like a coach. 3rd and 10, and Warner gets taken down. The ball is loose. It is a fumble, and Tampa has it. It was knocked away by Steve White. White came charging in, knocked the ball down before Warner could begin his throwing motion, or at least finish it. And Shelton Quarles, who created the earlier fumble, the one that Isaac Bruce put on the turf, recovers this one.
He's going to get around Ryan Tucker with a great spin move, Dennis. We've been talking about that from receivers and running backs. How about that from Steve White as he now leads the Buccaneers in sacks? That is a fumble, not a forward pass.
Well, this is
Warner
the new specialist. Sorry, Dan, go ahead.
No, Warner was trying to bring the ball down and hold on to it.
It's like the new specialist in the NFL is the guy who forces the fumble. They used to do the tomahawk. Now they commit the ball from all angles.
Third Ram turnover and 30th. And we may have another challenge, 30th of the season. Mike Martz could contend conceivably that his arm was coming forward.
Challenging the ruling on the field of a fumble.
So that could be it. And this means that the Rams now are out of challenges with 12:52 to go in the first half. You only get, no matter if you can win them, it doesn't matter. You get 2 challenges per game, period.
How prescient of you on the first one to point out he might need that later out.
Curtis trying to avoid Steve White right here by giving him almost like an arm over. White was coming in with his hands up. Warner trying to bring that ball down to his body. But White with long arms gets in there, stops the arm there. You can see the grip on the ball. That was not a forward pass. That's a fumble.
Maybe the thumb's not, maybe if the thumb was completely well, he's able to hold that ball.
Yeah, you can argue that his arm was coming forward, but the intent of the quarterback, I think you got to look at that. And having been in this situation many times, you can see that Warner is not trying to release that ball. He's trying to hang on to it. Well past the point of release.
You know what's great on that replay? You look at the whale of trouble that he's in, and Freddie, I don't know if you can run that again. His eyes are so restive. He's almost contemplative. You know, it's all hit the fan, and the guy is as cool as a cucumber. Like,
normally,
no flinch.
Dennis, normally your point of release is right about here. He's well past it. In fact, he's going to drop the ball when the ball is already over his head.
Tony Dungy looks contemplative because I think he's going to win this challenge.
Ron Blum has really had to work hard tonight, hasn't he?
He has.
He's been in that tent a long time.
So he's got to come out of the hood in another 5 seconds. Theoretically, they stopped the video at that particular point.
Yeah, you really think that?
Well,
to see more?
Theoretically. But sometimes they have to run credits at the end of it.
I think he put another quarter in and got another couple of seconds.
Well, that's been known to happen.
To reviewing the play, the quarterback is in control of the ball with his arm moving forward. When the ball comes out, it's an incomplete forward pass.
Whoa.
Third down on the 19-yard line. Third and 10. Please set the clock to 12:58. St. Louis is not charged a timeout.
Yeah, Ron Blum is a professional golfer. He has never probably thrown a football in his life. If that's a forward pass, then I'm Arnold Palmer. Where is the?
Yeah.
There he's got control of the ball because he doesn't want to throw it. He wants to hang on to it.
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah.
I made that young lady happy.
Bad call. But Martz wins the challenge. Martz is now 4 for his last 4 in challenges. Brenda Warner, Kurt's wife. And regardless, as I said, of the fact you win the challenge, Martz is now out of challenges. So if there's a key play somewhere down the line, he cannot challenge. The only challenges remaining would be in the final 2 minutes of either half. And those are, as they always are, precipitated by the boys upstairs.
And this appears to going to be a tight ball game.
Well, that call was Blum and Blummer there.
You're here all week?
Try the view.
John Baker will do the punting.
John Baker, I want that job.
Now Ron Blum just announced that they're going to check to see that it's 4th down.
How much tape does he get to watch here? Is there a time limit on this?
He's checking the spot as well.
Ron might as well just went to the movies.
It is. It's 4th and 10. Had to go back to the original spot. That's the 19-yard line. 4th and 10 as Baker gets ready to punt now. Two minutes into the second period. And Baker gets a high floating and not particularly deep kick away, but it takes a very good Ram bounce. In fact, the ball goes about 23 extra yards after it initially hits.
It's like the cart path out at Bel Air.
You got it. 52-yard punt. I know that shot. Warren Sapp getting a breather here with 12:42 left in the half. Friday, it's the return of America's Funniest Home Videos. 8 Eastern and Pacific, 7 Central. You see it right here on ABC. Kurt Warner watching the Tampa Bay offense go to work right now. And they throw it out to Keyshawn Johnson. And he gets run down by London Fletcher after a gain of about 3. Well, the Bucs have been noted for good defense and a good running game since Tony Dungy came aboard in 1996. But this year, a whole different story. As you can see, they have run the ball just a little bit more than a third of the time, the second lowest rate in the league.
And that's what happens when you get behind in games. You got to get rid of the running game, abandon it, and go for the pass. And that's what Brad Johnson's had to do.
Talk about plan B.
The only team that runs it less is Detroit, and they run it less because they're behind all the time. There is Warren Dunn up to the 35-yard line. Tonight they've run the ball 9 times and passed it 12 times, and you can see it's the largest decrease in the league since the Oilers in '90, and the reason for the Oilers going the other way was the run and shoot came in that year.
And part of the problem for Clyde Christensen is that the offensive line, starting a rookie, Kenyatta Walker at left tackle, their #1 pick. Cozy Coleman, a second-year player at right guard, is new as well. So 2 out of the 5 are new this year, starting for Tampa.
3rd down and 5 from the 35-yard line. Short drop, quick flip. Anthony looks for a flag, and he gets 2 of them, in fact. So from either angle, that was interference.
Well, they weren't even going to call that, but they owe Riddell on-demand penalty flags.
Pass interference, 32 St. Louis at the 41-yard line. 1st down.
Dre Bly.
And I agree with that call. Dre Bly had his hands all over Riddell Anthony. There he is right here. Slant route. That is long before the ball is close to the receiver.
First and 10. Buccaneers up at the 41-yard line. Olstad. Again, we can't emphasize how important this game is for Tampa. We know as we get further and further into the season, we start talking about key games and critical games. And you can overuse that phrase. But here's a team that's 4-5. They lose tonight. They're 4 games out of first in their own division. 3 games back of the second-place team. They'd have 6 losses. If they win tonight, they're 5-5, and then you have Cincinnati and Detroit the next 2 weeks. And now you're saying, we're back in it.
Well, their history will tell you that they do play better this time of year. They're going to have to.
2nd and 10 from the 41. Johnson flings it out to Johnson. Johnson and Johnson, the connection right there. That's a game of 4 up to the 45. The Ram defense, of course, is much improved this season. Eric, what are your thoughts?
Well, Al, I can tell you, London Fletcher said the big impact with this defense has been the emergence of the offensive coordinator, Lovie Smith. He simplified things. He said he gets the best out of every player. Also, as a player, Aeneas Williams has really set the tone with the players because he goes hard every down in practice and in the games. And with his leadership qualities, this is what the younger players really look up to him for.
Aeneas Williams, one of 8 new starters on opening day defensively for the Rams. 3rd down and 6. Johnson throws, and jumping up and somehow not catching it was Riddell Anthony right there.
That was a beautiful pass by Brad Johnson. He had what he wanted. Dexter McCleon had his back to the quarterback, so that allows Johnson to put the ball anywhere near his receiver. The eyes go right out to the single coverage. Perfectly thrown ball right through the arms of Riddell Anthony.
Mark Royals to do the punting, his 12th season. Oz Hakeem, who fumbled the last time he handled the punt, calls for a fair catch and makes it at the 20-yard line. And the crowd gives him a Bronx cheer on the banks of the Mississippi. 9:48 left in the half. Tampa Bay 7, St. Louis 3.
Wow. Danny, you know, when they call you the man in St. Louis over Stanley Musial, that is a high honor indeed, my friend.
Ooh. No, no, it's embarrassing.
You saw him at a card show, didn't you?
I did, and he called me Dan the Man. I said, no, no, Stan, you're the man. Still you're the man.
He is the man. Draw, and smelling that one out perfectly is Brooks. 2nd down and 12. You know, one of the ironies, guys, is I'm thinking about Tony Dungy, and we don't want to feed the rumor mill, but if they don't get to the playoffs, people are going to begin to wonder if he's going to keep his job. He lost 2 good coaches, and they have done tremendous jobs for other teams this season.
And he's changed offensive coordinators, which has been the problem. The offense has been the problem with Tampa 3 years in a row now. So where do the fingers start to point? Right here.
Lovie Smith is the defensive coordinator on the other side of the field tonight. Herm Edwards is doing a magnificent job with the 7-3 coming off of bye-week Jets. 2nd and 12. Warner under pressure throws over the middle and jams it into Torrey Holt for a 1st down up at the 40-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're the calmest sub-500 talented team you've ever met. That obviously derives from Dungy. And I respect the guy so much, I think he stays regardless.
There's no calm tonight, though, for Warren Sapp. Great club move there. Almost gets to Warner. McFarland also giving pressure, but that's what Kurt Warner's all about, delivering under pressure.
21-yard gain. That's the 3rd catch for Holt tonight. 1st and 10 from the 40 as Warner comes this way, throws, caught, and it is Torrey Holt who gets ankle tackled by Brian Kelly. But isn't it funny how, I mean, Tampa Bay, a terrible team for all of those years, except for the one NFC Championship game in '79. Then Dungy comes in and resurrects him. But then the expectations are so high right now. Maybe he pays the price. Who knows?
Well, it's his own version of the Peter principle to some extent. You define the line, you set the bar for excellence, and then there is going to be that expectation that you close at some point.
Sure.
And, you know, Tony Dungy, he's such a nice man. I just think.
2nd and 5, and here is Falk, and Marshall goes rambling through the Buck defense all the way to the 37-yard line, led by a Frank Garcia block for a gain of 18.
Just to close up on that, you know the league. It's the Serengeti Plain. Nice guys. You know, eventually you gotta close or you're not going to be there.
Garcia with one great block. Watch the fullback, James Hodgson. Watch as he uses his 270 pounds to take out the defensive end, Steve White there. That's why Marshall Faulk was so quick to get into the secondary.
1st and 10 at the 37-yard line. Warner, quick toss. Caught by Bruce. And there go the Rams. It's like a fast break. Gain of 12. For more on Tony Dungy, let's go to Melissa.
Al, in talking to the Buccaneer players, they have the ultimate respect for him. Rondé Barber said he treats us like men, and he has a very endearing personality. He never curses, doesn't lose his temper. Warren Sapp said he tells it like it is. He's a straight shooter. We know what to expect from him. He knows what to expect from us, and that's half the battle. And Keyshawn Johnson said, when I go out on the field, I give Tony 110%. I'm not playing for anybody else but him.
First and 10 from the 25-yard line as Warner is under pressure. Warner slips out of the pocket, throws over the middle, and that's caught by Hakeem.
The thing about Tony is he's so ethical. You give him 110%, he actually gives you 10% back.
I know one thing. I've been around this league long enough to know if Dungy pays the price, if he gets fired, he is at the top of almost every list for another team looking for a coach.
No question about that. And right now he's feeling the pressure of this Ram offense. Shelton Quarles could not bail him out that time as he misses an easy sack on Kurt Warner. Warner keeping his wits, not wanting to run, finding the receiver over the middle.
First and 10. Rams marching downfield, down by 4, but then all of a sudden here comes Warren Sapp with his 4th sack of the season. And then Warren gets into a little jawing session with Garcia.
There's a shocker.
And what does he do on this one, Dennis, but beat the double? He's going to beat Frank Garcia, who did such a nice job on the run by Falk earlier. There is Sapp right there, one-on-one with Garcia, just overpowers him. And look at Warner, still struggling trying to find a receiver.
Second and 19, Rams back at the 24. Bucks with a 4-man rush, and the pass is errant out of the range of Isaac Bruce.
You know, when a guy like Sapp has you in your grasp like that, you're best off just going down quickly. You don't want that Rich Gannon, Tony Saraguso thing to happen where you end up just getting crunched by the much bigger man.
And you know that sack is almost good for 2 plays. Of course, you get the sack and the lost yardage, but then you get an errant throw on the very next play from a very accurate quarterback.
That's right, residual effect.
That's what it's called.
Third down and 19 at the 24. It away, and it's incomplete. It was chased from behind. Anthony McFarland had him in the grass. The penalty is going to be against the Rams.
Well, this is that bend but don't break defense of Tony Dungy's. Rams were moving right down the field. They get near the red zone. Sapp comes up with a sack and now a holding penalty. That's got to make Monty Kiffin.
Holding 65 St. Louis. Penalties declined. 4th down.
That's Frank Garcia.
Yeah, and you decline it. You don't give Kurt Warner another shot. Much rather have Jeff Wilkins come in here, try 3, than have Mike Martz load up this offense with Warner.
The interesting call is if you take the penalty, you take them out of field goal range. But I agree with you, Dan. Why give Warner another shot? This is a 41-yard field goal attempt for Jeff Wilkins. Make it 42 officially as the ball is spotted at the 32. And the kick is good, so they decline it. It gives them the opportunity to get 3, and they do cash in to make it a 1-point game with 5 minutes to play in the half. 7-6 Tampa. Tampa Bay leading 7-6 under the dome in St. Louis on Monday Night Football as Week 11 concludes. The Rams moving here in 1995 from Anaheim. Same year the Raiders left LA to go to Oakland. Kickoff fielded at the 1 by Frank Murphy. And he brings it back to the 24-yard line. I bring that up only because if the Rams and the Raiders are the 2 best teams in the league, you could have had an LA Super Bowl. Miami against Virginia Tech, 1 o'clock Eastern Saturday. Oregon State and the Ducks of Dan Fouts at 4:30 Eastern, along with the Irish and Purdue. Then the Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship game. It's Texas against, not Nebraska, the Colorado Buffs.
Al, who would ever thought you could have a Subway Series in LA someday?
First and 10 from the 24-yard line. Subway sandwich. This is Johnson to Moore, and he drops it right there.
Anytime I can be in a Subway near the San Andreas Fault, I'm a happy guy. Right. Yeah.
I hear you.
Let me sign up for that.
Ram defense. We've been talking about Lovie Smith tonight and the difference from last year. Last year on the left through 9 games. This year on the right. Just look at that last category. They're allowing about half as many points. And Lovie Smith came over from Tampa. Mike Martz knew him well because the two coached together under Larry Marmee a number of years ago at Arizona State. 2nd and 10 from the 24-yard line. And this is done. In fact, last night we talked to Tony Dungy about losing 2 coaches, and I posed the question, if Herman Edwards had gotten the job before Smith goes over to the Rams, would you have been hesitant to let another coach go? Herman got the job after Lovie came here. He said, actually, if Herman had gotten the job in New York before Lovie, Herman probably would have taken Smith to New York as his defensive coordinator.
And for Tony, it's a highest form of compliment when other teams are interested in your coaches.
Meanwhile, Ted Cottrell doing a great job for Edwards in New York. And on 3rd and 2, the pass is incomplete, intended for Jacquez Green.
Boy, Brad Johnson's being betrayed by his receivers. Moore and Jacquez Green drop passes on this possession. Riedel Anthony on the previous possession.
Wow, only a former quarterback goes that quickly to the betrayal card. Take that as a personal affront, big guy.
Well, I do.
Mark Royals to punt on 4th down. And they have the wrong number of people out on the field, and thus Tampa Bay is going to have to use a timeout. They only had 10 guys on the field. Joe Marciano not happy about that. Timeout, Bucks. Proper number of people now on the field for Tampa Bay as Mark Royals gets ready to send it down to Oz Hakeem. Good deep angled punt. Taken outside the numbers at the 14 by Hakeem. And then he gets hogtied up at the 26-yard line by Shelton Quarles.
A lot of comparisons between Air Martz and Don Coryell's offense that I ran in San Diego. It's the ability to use superior athletes to create mismatches. We had Kellen Winslow shifting out wide against the linebacker, and when he did that, we had a speed mismatch. The Rams gain a quickness and agility mismatch when Marshall Faulk splits out wide against a strong safety. Both Martz and Coryell share a willingness to try new things and take advantage of a player's skills and the guts to carry out the plan no matter what.
Doug, those graphics, man, those are cool this week.
First down of the 26. Here they come. The blitz is picked up, and then there's a nice play made by Derrick Brooks. That's a beautiful play on a pass intended for Isaac Bruce.
He's that type of player, has the ability to cover a wide receiver like Isaac Bruce coming over the middle, guarding him closely. May have got away with the right hand. Nope. Perfect coverage. Broke up that one clean.
Well, you got to give Derrick Brooks the right hand. He's a man. 7 years in the league, proven himself. You give him the hand once in a while.
He's the playmaker on this defense.
That's his vigorish.
Speaking of vigorish, 2nd and 10 from the 26. Warner throws, and that pass is incomplete. Upfield intended for Torrey Holt. Meanwhile, Marshall Faulk tonight, a fairly quiet evening for last year's NFL most valuable player.
You know, he's averaging 7 yards a carry, but he hasn't caught a pass yet tonight.
Hey, you haven't seen the Rams this discombobulated in this century yet. Put it that way.
How about Kurt Warner missing 10 out of 18 passes?
Warner 8 of 18 for $116. There are the figures. And he puts the ball on the ground again. And it was stripped by Warren Sapp and recovered, I think, by Marcus Jones. And Tampa Bay has created a 3rd turnover, and the Rams are lucky it wasn't 4. Otherwise, they would have turned it over on a challenge that they subsequently won.
Clearly no throwing motion on this one. This is the tomahawk chop by Warren Sapp. Working off the double team. Tucker pushes him into Warner. And the ball comes loose. They're trying to step up in the pocket, but the quickness of Sapp was just too much to overcome.
Bucks again. First down deep in Ram territory at the 21 as Johnson throws a duck, a wobbly pass intended for Keyshawn Johnson, who emphatically asked for a flag and was emphatically told by the official no way. Covered by Aeneas Williams.
That's a great battle. Aeneas Williams, the 11-year vet, going against Keyshawn. The thing about Keyshawn is you know that he's not going to run away from you. And a veteran like Aeneas with extremely tight coverage that time.
I love it when we talk to Aeneas' selflessness. I ask him what his key to his game was. He says, know where your help is and play to it. That seemed like such a humble gesture for such a stud.
2nd and 10 from the 21-yard line. Allstott. Minimal gain to the 20-yard line, setting up 3rd and long, 3rd and about 8.
Pretty hard to believe that Sapp, he had 2 sacks last game. Hard to believe he only had 1 before that, because he looks like, I haven't seen him much this year. He looks like the Warren of old.
Get doubled and tripled a lot.
He's got 2 sacks tonight. Something about that Monday night, huh?
I'm sure he wants to put it in Cheaty's face, too. There's a little bad blood there.
Cheaty had a sack on the game's first play. 3rd down 8 from the 20. Johnson pressured, has room to run, but that's closed down quickly at the 18-yard line. London Fletcher got there.
Johnson's looking for the other Johnson, Keyshawn, on the crossing route again, trying to find a hole in the zone there. Look at Aeneas Williams. Aeneas right here, looking back to the inside. There's Riddell Anthony. He's covered by the deep safeties of the Rams.
Now a 36-yard field goal attempt by Martin Gramatica with Royals to hold.
There you go.
That would have been good from 55. 35 officially, 2:10 remaining in the half. And Gramatica has made the lead 4 once again. Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular. Citizen Echo Drive, a revolutionary watch that never needs a battery. And Ford, the totally redesigned Ford Explorer, only from Ford Outfitters.
You know who's playing that there, Ralph?
No.
Mountain, Corky Lang, Felix Pappalardi, Leslie West, Long Suede Coat. Oh, I tell you everything.
I want to take you to the top of the arch the next time we're here.
Hey, they lit the arch up. That doesn't happen too often, though.
Beautiful. I love the arch.
This guy holding the sign over here, OJ did it. Huh? I guess they reactivated Brigands. He made a tackle on the play, and the guy's pointing it out to me.
Thought he meant McDuffie. Martin Gramatica.
Brother Billy had a nice day yesterday out in the desert.
He won the Arizona-San Diego game with a game-closing field goal. Trung candidate from the 4-yard line. Not a lot of finesse on candidates runbacks tonight, just bullying straight ahead up to the 23 as we have come to the 2-minute warning. The Rams have coughed the ball up 3 times tonight, thanks mainly to Warren Sapp. 10-6. Coming up at the Lexus halftime show, the Bears going to 8-2. You just saw the promo for Brian's song, the reprise, which will be on ABC next Sunday. Also, the updated Bowl Championship Series standings. We'll take a look at numbers 1 and 2. Of course, that will all change because of the Nebraska situation. And again, a look at the arch. The Gateway Arch, Denny, it's the gateway to the west.
Imagine the Bears moving out of Soldier Field next year. You got a shot and a beer team playing in Champaign. Unbelievable.
You're still here all week, aren't you? From the 20 spread. There's a little shovel pass. Shades of Lee Gross Cup. as Oz Hakeem takes it at the 24-yard line. That play invented by Cactus Jack Curtis at Utah in the late 50s.
And the Cupper was the man who implemented it?
The Cupper was the man who implemented it.
Cupper's a piece of work.
Made him an All-American, made him the #1 draft choice of the New York Giants in 1960. 2nd and 9 from the 24. Warner throws, caught by Bruce, or Torrey Holt over the middle. And Torrey Holt moves the chains. Rams going without a huddle. They have 2 timeouts remaining. The ball's at the 44-yard line.
That timing between Warner and his receivers on those deep in cuts are just perfect.
From the gun. Tip high in the air and incomplete. Bucks came that close to a 4th takeaway. Simeon Rice, I think, is the guy who deflected it. He might have even deflected it with his helmet.
You know, he got a couple last week against the Bears, so his timing when he can't get past big Orlando Pace is pretty good. Keeping his eye on the quarterback over here to the left hand. Looks like he must have played a little basketball in his past.
Bucks getting very good pressure on Warner tonight. Most I've seen on Warner since the Giants were here early in the year. Went down by a point. And they give it to Falk, and Marshall can barely get out of his tracks. Tackled up at the 47-yard line.
I think Andy McCollum snapped that ball early.
Looked like it.
When he snapped the ball, nobody was moving except him. Warner found himself the ball and gave it to the best man he could think of.
Meanwhile, SAPP comes out here in the final minute. 3rd down and 8. Replaced by Chartrick Darby. And there was movement by Orlando Pace.
Yeah, you've got to give it to Tony Dungy's defense tonight. They are frustrating not only Warner, but this entire Ram team. 2 mistakes in a row by the offensive line.
Ball start, number 76 offense, 5 yards. This penalty also includes a 10-second runoff. Timer, please set the clock at 36. Start the clock on my signal.
Take a look at the false snap by Andy McCollum. This is the play prior. He snaps the ball. Look at the offensive line still sitting there. Orlando Pace going, what the heck's going on?
Meanwhile,
and then on the very next play, this is Falk going down with Lynch.
10-second runoff, and also Ron Blum just went into the huddle to remind the Rams the clock is going to continue to run when the ball was ready for play. That cost them another 10 seconds. Here goes Warner, wide open. Down the sideline is Isaac Bruce. A blown coverage when a guy like Bruce can get that loose that far downfield at the 18-yard line.
They blew coverages all game last week against the Chicago Bears, and it cost them when Marty Booker hit him for 3 touchdowns. Watch Bruce just go down the sideline. This is too deep coverage. John Lynch is going to the inside receiver here. That draws him away from Bruce, and then this gun by Kurt Warner. Perfect. Field goal range now.
Ran by Donnie Abraham on that side of the field. 17 ticks remaining. Warner throws underneath. They have to take a timeout right now as Marshall Falk makes the catch. They take a timeout. They have time to run one more play since they have one more timeout remaining.
Yeah, they have because they have that one timeout remaining. Obviously, they can use the field, but don't be surprised if the Rams don't put this one in the end zone.
It will be 2nd down and 6.
That's what speed at wide receiver does for you. You get the inside receiver down the field to attract the safety, and just as much speed on the outside with Isaac Bruce. Here it is right here. As Holt goes down the middle, he attracts Lynch away from Bruce. Of course, it takes a great throw by the quarterback, but that is why speed kills.
Abraham tried to bump him at the line. He ran right by Donnie, 42 yards, and that was a 3rd and 13 play. Now 2nd and 5 in the waning seconds as Warner throws off his back foot for Ernie Conwell over the middle, and he couldn't make the catch. He turned to look upfield before he looked it into his hands.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Conwell was going to get in the end zone on that one either. So it's probably better that he did drop it. With 7 seconds, the Rams have time to throw one more pass, and if it's not good, throw it out of the back of the end zone, line up for the field goal.
This is what you have to love about Martz. I mean, he is more aggressive than he was as an offensive coordinator. This is a very interesting call here, because if Warner is under pressure, and now he has to get up to the line quickly to get it off before the play clock expires, this whole play could take 7 seconds. 3rd down and 5. Warner throws. It is caught at the 5. They have to take a timeout immediately, and they do, to stop the clock, as Ernie Conwell makes the catch at the 6.
That's a great example of a zone defense bending but not breaking. They all lined up at about the goal line. The Buccaneers did. They allowed the Rams to complete the pass in front of them. Monty Kiffin's defense did the job coming up and making the tackle.
All they were trying to do is prevent 7 and take their chances that the Rams will settle for the 3, which is what the case will be right here if Wilkins makes this.
You could see Lynch and Donnie Abraham just watching Conwell make the grab, coming up and smacking him.
Well, Martz rings that chamois out till it's completely dry, too. I'm surprised he doesn't try a play here and use up only 1 second. He does not go into that good field goal night gently.
24-yard attempt for Wilkins. And the Bucs do a magnificent job defensively in a half in which the Rams don't get into the end zone. They settle for 3 Wilkins field goals. A little exasperated look on Mike Martz's face as he goes back to the locker room. Warren Sapp and his defensive unit head back the other way. At halftime, Tampa Bay 10, St. Louis 9. Here's Melissa.
All right, Al, thanks, Tony. Coming into this game, you emphasized taking advantage of Rams turnovers. They have 3. You only have 10 points. How much does that concern you?
Yeah, that hurts. We got some short fields, and we didn't take advantage of it. We've just got to make some touchdowns, make some catches in the second half.
Thanks, Tony. Let's go over to Eric.
I'm here with London Fletcher. The offense has turned the ball over 3 times. Rough for the offense right now. Is the defense going to have to jumpstart this football team?
Well, definitely. Right now, Tampa Bay's defense is outplaying us, by creating 3 turnovers. But yet and still, we're only down 1 point. So I don't know how happy Tampa Bay can be about themselves. They've created 3 turnovers yet and still we're only down 1 point. So we still feel pretty good. We still have to protect the football in the second half. Turnovers is the name of the game. If they win a turnover battle, most likely you don't win a football game.
Thank you, London. Okay, good luck. Back to you, Al.
All right, thank you, Eric. So it's 10-9. It's a 1-point game. The Bucs leading. Look at the Bears. A preview of Brian's song BCS standings coming up on the Lexus halftime show after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC station.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside. Come inside, the show's about to start.
And back to the show as we start the second half. Al Michaels, Dan Fouts, Dennis Miller, Eric Dickerson, Melissa Stark. At the Dome at America's Center in St. Louis, Kurt Warner toweling off. We've been talking about, guys, how important this game is to Tampa, clearly, to get to 500. Meanwhile, if the Rams lose this game, all of a sudden the San Francisco 49ers and the Rams are tied for first in the NFC West.
Who would have thought that this year? Great job by Jeff Garcia running the original West Coast offense.
Wilkins' kick is fielded at the 13 by Frank Murphy. And he gets taken down up at the 31-yard line by Yo Murphy as we look at the numbers through the first 30 minutes of play.
Remember, the score is Tampa Bay 10, St. Louis 9. But you'd expect the Rams to have an advantage. 71 yards of that 210 was on that last drive, but the 3 turnovers obviously leveling out the field. Brad Johnson, typical Brad Johnson numbers. Keyshawn Johnson averaging under 7 yards a carry and no touchdowns. 7 yards a catch, rather.
First down from the 32-yard line as Warwick Dunn begins on the ground. Taken down for a loss of 1. Let's check in with Melissa.
Al, I talked to Tony Dungy at the half. He likes the fact that they've been able to get pressure on Kurt Warner. That was part of the game plan because he thinks that the defense can run well on the AstroTurf. They've been in a lot of second and longs. Look for them to run the ball more on first down. As for his main message at halftime, he said, we got to make plays. They're out there to be had. We just got to make them.
They just ran on first down here, lost 1, did Dunn. And it's second down and 11 at the 31-yard line. Holmes carried 9 times for 29 yards. And here's carry number 10. And still not much there up to the 32-yard line.
You know, Al, you're talking about the 49ers. We got to send a little love out to Marty Schottenheimer in the District of Columbia. That is unbelievable, man. This guy makes Lazarus look like a catnapper.
Who would have ever believed it? We saw them twice on Monday night this season. They're killed at Green Bay, lost to Dallas at the end from 0-5 to 5-5.
And a little compromise by Marty and the players at a team meeting has been the reason for the turnaround.
3rd down and 10. It's caught by Moore over the middle, and the tight end converts on 3rd and long up to the 45 to move the chains.
Dave Moore making the catch when he couldn't make it earlier in the game, but it's just a tight end going down and reading the open area in the zone. Johnson with good pass protection again. Here's Moore. Very simple, knowing what he needs for the 1st down, making the catch and turning up and getting it.
His 2nd grab of the night. 1st down for the Bucs from the 45-yard line. Play fake buys time. There's Johnson getting free at the Ram 40 and tackled at the 38-yard line. It's a gain of 17 and a 1st down, tackled by Dexter McLean.
1st-round draft pick Kenyatta Walker has struggled at times this year. But he and that offensive line have only allowed Brad Johnson to go down 1 time in that 1st half. This is an outstanding job of pass protection against a very tenacious pass rusher, Grant Wistrom. That allows Keyshawn to get all the way across the field on the crossing route. And the Buccaneers offense, very efficient here, start the 2nd half.
From the 37-yard line, here's Johnson throwing, and that is dropped. That was Jameel Cook, the backup to Allstott, the rookie out of Illinois, who just didn't look it into his hands.
You know, Al, it was interesting to watch the Rams' face when they went off field for halftime. They have that sort of quizzical, like, what's happening here look. The machine runs so smoothly, so frequently, that almost they look like Ali when he started taking punches. He used to slip. You know, that, how's this happening look?
Well, they walked off. I mean, they're a team, and you just can't ignore what people are saying about you, and they hear things and they read things, and everybody's talking about the Rams as the best team in the league, and they probably are, but you begin to believe your notices. 2nd down and 10 at the 37-yard line. And this is Dunge trying to spin out of trouble and picks up 4. Warwick Dunn, again, bothered by that sprained foot. And in just 1 of the 7 games has he averaged more than 3 yards per rush. And again, we'll point it out that the average rush over time is about 4.0 or 4.1 yards per carry around the league.
Well, that's another freakish anomaly like SAPP's sack total. You don't understand it because he certainly looks like a Tasmanian dervish tonight.
3rd down and 6 from the 33. Johnson slings it over the middle, and getting open and picking up the 1st down is Jaquez Green, who's coming back from an abdominal injury and playing for the 1st time in a month.
Yeah, you wonder how much Leonard Little being out of the Ram defensive line is affecting their pass rush, because they're just not getting any tonight. The Tampa Bay offensive line just stones everybody in blue and gold here. Watch Johnson has the ability to double clutch and still get his receiver over the middle.
1st down Bucs at the Ram 20. This drive began back at the 32-yard line. Here's Allstott ramming his way, so to speak, to the 16-yard line.
He's bucking it up in there hard, Al. That's not a ramming.
that is textbook bucking up in there.
Teddy, how do you buck it up in
there? Well, listen, let me go back here to NFL films. I'm Phil Tuckett. Big guy, get ball, like monolith, crunch, boom. Rugby scrum. And you see Allstott doing that, you think, why don't they punish teams for like 4 quarters with that? It's just like body shots. Eventually the guard comes down.
But variety is the spice of offense.
Bouncy, you are such an Epicurean.
2nd and 6. And that is caught this time by Jameel Cook, who dropped one earlier on this drive at the 16-yard line for a very small gain.
Johnson's dealing it around, though. Twice now he's gone to Cook. Handed the ball a couple times to Dunn. Allstott throwing the ball with confidence. Out of those 21 attempts, he's had 4 drop passes.
This is the opening drive of the third quarter. It's 3rd down and 6 at the St. Louis 16-yard line. Good protection, finds the big man again. It's Dave Moore, key catch, and his second 3rd down conversion on this series.
The reason Kenyatta Walker was picked number 1 by Tony Dungy is he played at Florida, where they throw the ball all over the field with Steve Spurrier. And Kenyatta, who was a right tackle in college, is now playing on the left side, the most difficult and most valuable spot for the quarterback, because that's Brad Johnson's blind side. Tampa converting on 3rd downs tonight, 5 out of 10. Coming into the game, that was one of their sore points.
Allstott and Cook in the backfield. Allstott playing the tailback in this set. 1st down at the 8-yard line. Give it to Mike. Cuts in behind Cook. Seeks his second touchdown of the night and gets it.
Second walk-in touchdown for Mike Allstott.
And that snaps that tie with James Wilder and makes him the leader in all-time career touchdowns for that franchise. 47 for Allstott.
We've seen Kenyatta pass block. Now he's going to get help from Cook on the run block and just pushes Winstrom right out of the picture. Missed tackle, though, right. Jeff Scanina in the backfield. Allstott in easily.
You know, Archuleta must be pining on the pine over there. He'd love to collide with Allstott.
Gramatica for the point after. So they hold the ball for 6 minutes 24 seconds. March 68 yards down the field most proficiently. Derrick Brooks pretty happy on the sideline because his team now leads by 8. Next Monday night we go to Jacksonville. The Jaguars host the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay comes to town 7-3. Brett Favre and company on Monday Night Football. ESPN is a Thursday night game for you at 8:30 Eastern Time. Philadelphia going into Kansas City, and all of a sudden the Eagles need a win after yesterday's loss at the hands of the Washington Redskins. Gramatica sends a bouncing ball down a candidate who finally collects it at the 8-yard line. Does a little dancing and darting and can only bring it back to the 15-yard line. So the Tampa Bay defense, Warren Sapp, John Lynch, Derrick Brooks and company, up by 8.
You get Sapp and his crew a defensive lineman, and Brooks and his crew of linebackers, and then you got Lynch and his crew of defensive backs. So, you know, there's not many teams that have a leader on each level of the defense, and they have 3 in those guys.
Yes, they do. And they're shining pretty brightly tonight, the Tampa Bay defense. And right now the Rams have the ball for the first time in the second half. 8:25 to go in the third. They begin on the ground, and there is that Tampa Bay defense again, and that's Warren Sapp with a Dan Gable kind of move.
Man, that's a takedown. That's spiking. He spiked Marshall Faulk that time. Watch the right hand. The quickness off the ball is just outstanding. Beats the offensive line, then takes care of Hodgins, and then slam dunk of Marshall Faulk.
That is disdainful.
That hurts. It came right down on his left shoulder, too.
Forget Dan Gable. That's Larry Owens.
2nd and 14 at the 11-yard line. Warner hanging in the pocket, and then the pass is incomplete. In traffic. Torrey Holt, the intended receiver.
Well, Marshall Faulk just hasn't had enough carries so far tonight. He may not want any more after that hit by Warren Sapp. Isaac Bruce with 3 catches, but the time of possession has been all in favor of Tampa Bay. The one thing about Marshall Faulk, only 1 catch in that first half. They're going to have to major in number 28 if they're going to get back in this ball game.
First time this season the Rams have trailed by as many as 8 points. 3rd and 14. Warner throwing over the middle, and he gets out of trouble with a pass to Torrey Holt. And and he takes it all the way out to the 46-yard line. Torrey Holt, who introduced himself as big play, with a big 35-yard play on 3rd and 14.
And against Monty Kiffin's too deep, the hole in the zone is always the crossing route over the middle. All the way over the middle. Takes time to get this one in there, but it's another perfect strike. And the great thing about Warner, when he's on, Holt will catch this ball, not lose any momentum, turn up the field, make a couple of guys miss. This is Ram football right now.
Meanwhile, Falk is out of the game and Candidate is in the game, so we'll check on Marshall, who went down hard on that shoulder on the sack takedown, on the Warren sack takedown, as Candidate takes it to the 9-yard line. Let's check in with ED.
Al, I spoke to Mike Martz at halftime. He said they have to do a better job of protecting the football. They cannot turn it over. He also said that his skill guys have not had a chance to be on the football field, so they have not got a chance to get into their rhythm. Also, he says he wants to get the ball more to Marshall Faulk, running and receiving.
Well, the problem with getting the ball to Marshall Faulk right now is Marshall Faulk is on the sidelines being looked at by a quartet of trainers.
Yeah, I guarantee you, he came down on that left shoulder, and Marshall's in pain. He hides it well most of the time, but not there.
He's missed 2 games this season with a knee sprain. 2nd and 1. Here's Candidate to the 41. But when Marshall was out, Candidate was great.
Well, Martz told us the Marshall determines Trung's participation. He thinks so highly of Falk. He lets him tell him when Trung should go in and when he needs to come up. But this time, I think the decision might have been made for Marshall by Mr. Sapp.
Falk and Candidate, as you can see, when Candidate went into the Meadowlands with Falk hurt, 195 rushing yards against a great Jet defense. Puts the ball on the ground and recovers it himself, does Candidate.
You know, for once in a while we'll see a typical Ram type of play, but this is an atypical ball game that they're playing. I think the familiarity that Monty Kiffin and his defense has about the Rams, they know how to play them. They have the athletes, and now the injuries are really taking a toll on the Rams. We're seeing no pass rush out of the Ram defensive line, and now with Marshall Faulk out of the game, although he's back in, we're going to see how effective he can be with a sore left shoulder.
First play for Marshall since Sapp slammed him to the turf. At 2nd down and 16. They sent Falk into a short pattern, and the pass is caught by Oz Hakeem at the 31-yard line. Covered by Brian Kelly. Should be enough for the first. It is.
You know how oft times in this league the talent difference is so little, it comes down to who's more desperate, and obviously Tampa Bay's more cornered tonight. The Rams plays kind of depicting that.
Inside, perfect timing on the skinny post by Oz Hakeem. That's his 3rd catch of the night. Not bad for a guy that was questionable with a bad ankle.
1st and 10 from the 30-yard line, and they toss it back to Falk, and there goes Marshall, and he gets slung down out of bounds by Dexter Jackson, and that precipitates a flag after a 17-yard gain.
Yeah, he looks like he's really banged up.
Nothing wrong with his legs, that's for sure, is there? The weakness of this Buccaneer defense is weak side runs. Hodgins up inside here takes care of the linebacker Quarles, or rather Duncan. And now Marshall clearly out of bounds when Dexter Jackson pulls him down. Look at the quickness coming right at you.
Personal foul takes the ball inside the 6-yard line. Tony Dungy's team up by 8. Rams 1st and goal. Trung Candidate comes back into the game at the 6. Rams, of course, would go for 2 if they are able to put it in the end zone here. And there is Falk again in pain on the sideline. They hand it to Ernie Conwell. Mike Martz, he is a mastermind. He puts the ball in on the ground, but after the whistle. Down by contact, no fumble.
Conwell knew he didn't have much when he got the ball. He just lowered his head at 265 pounds. He was going to take some Buccaneers with him. One of those Mike Martz specials in the red zone. Fake to Candidate, and then in the underneath handoff on the tight end around. Recognition by Duncan and 2 other Buccaneers. His elbow hit the ground. The ball came out. Ground cannot cause that fumble.
Pretty close. 5th carry of the year for Conwell. 2nd to go. Falk's back in the game. Rams with all kinds of shifting and motion as Robinson gets set on a wing. And there goes Falk. Puts his head down. He can only get to the 1. It'll be 3rd and goal.
Toughness is such a big part of the National Football League. Marshall has to lower his head there because he has no other option. He can't run to the cone. Kiffin's defense playing wide, forcing Marshall to take more punishment.
Well, Marshall, he does not whine. That's when he said he first knew that Kurt Warner was special. He said the throwing, certainly, but he said Warner took hits and never got up whining. Marshall's a tough guy.
Falk. The setback on 3rd down and goal. Give it to Marshall. Can he get in? No. He is stopped inside the 1. Stopped by Simeon Rice. So it's an 8-point game. It's 4th down and goal, and the Rams will go for it.
Here's Simeon Rice on the outside, beating the block of Timmerman, who's coming on the trap. The quickness of Simeon Rice made that play.
No hesitation whatsoever on the Rams' part. Warner asked for quiet. 4th and goal inside the 1. Kurt's going to throw into the end zone, wide open to Brandon Manu Malayuna. His first catch of the season.
First catch of his career.
First time anybody said his name correctly.
Leave it to the Rams. Brandon Manu Malayuna on 4th and goal.
Buccaneers were coming after Warner. Brian Kelly coming on the blitz, left Manu Malayuna wide open.
You know what the literal translation of that name is? 5th option.
Rookie from Arizona. Candidate and Manu Malayuna played together for the Wildcats in Tucson. Rams now go for 2. And Warner has to take a timeout. They were slow in getting up to the line. The play clock runs on a 2-point conversion. It was down to 5. So they have to burn a timeout here prior to a 2-point conversion. 1:41 left in the 3rd. Monty Kiffin's defense will try to keep his team in the league. Mark sends him the play after the timeout. 2-point conversion. The league success rate 44% on 2-point conversions. And Marshall Falk nearly walks into the end zone behind a Tom Newton block.
How about Tom Newton taking over for Frank Garcia, who is playing in his stead because he's got a bad ankle.
17-17. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Pontiac. What would you do with some Pontiac excitement? Ali, starring Will Smith, coming this Christmas to theaters everywhere. Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. BU, nothing's better. Dr. Pepper. And Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 36. Rams have caught the Bucs at 17. Wilkins kickoff. And Frank Murphy takes it from the goal line. Pushes his way out past the 20. And Frank Murphy runs it all the way back out to the 35, where the kicker, Wilkins, makes the tackle, and there's a penalty flag down at the 25-yard line.
That one's coming back, holding against the Buccaneers.
Ron Blum so indicates, with 1:28 left in the 3rd quarter. Each team has had the ball just once in this period.
Ron Blum actually squinting. He's been under the hood so much tonight. Coming out of hibernation.
During the return, holding on a Tampa player, half the distance to the goal. 1st down, timeout.
1:28 left in the 3rd. Good one in St. Louis. Not it. Tampa Bay St Louis tied at 17. As you look at Warren Sapp, well, his school Miami is #1, and you'll see them Saturday early on ABC against Virginia Tech. From Eugene, it's Oregon State and Oregon. Notre Dame Purdue in the afternoon. At night, Texas Colorado meet for the Big 12 championship right here on ABC. Crowd roaring. Bucks have it from the 10 after the penalty. They begin deep in their own territory with an all-stop 5-yard pickup as we go to Melissa Stark.
Well, Al, you were just talking about Warren Sapp. He is not a happy camper. After the Rams just scored, he came over to the sidelines, threw his helmet, then kicked it. Then he proceeded to throw passes with Brad Johnson, something he never does, apparently trying to work out that frustration. Then he sat down on the bench and started gnawing on a towel.
Throwing passes with Brad Johnson?
Wow. And then he pulls a Jerry Tarkanian and starts munching the...
From the hotel.
Munching on the cotton.
2nd and 6 from the 14-yard line. Warwick Dunn is the setback. He takes it, takes the screen, but coming in there to break it up is Chidi Ahanotu.
That's not going to make Warren happy either, is it?
No.
Sapp's got to be frustrated because the Rams, in very un-Ram type of fashion offensively, went 12 plays with that last drive. Took almost 7 minutes off the clock. So that wears down Warren Sapp and that defense.
Sapp is so media savvy. He's all flipped off, and he sees the camera over his shoulder, and he breaks into a smile. He's the best at knowing where the camera is since Reggie Jackson. 3rd down and 6 from the 14. Johnson throws. Allstott makes the catch. And he barrels his way up to the 24-yard line as the 3rd quarter expires. A good one on Monday Night Football from St. Louis at the end of 3. It is Tampa Bay 17, St. Louis 17. Monday Night Football resumes after this from our ABC stations. We begin the 4th quarter. Tampa Bay has a 1st down in a tie game at their own 25-yard line. Brad Johnson gives the ball to Warwick Dunn. Can't cut it back because Jeff Scanina is right there, number 90. Here are the figures.
Well, you got to think that the Buccaneers are going to have to start rushing the ball a little bit better. But Brad Johnson's having an outstanding night, completing passes at 66%. Keyshawn Johnson with 4 catches, still no touchdowns.
Even when the Rams are stymied, they throw up 100 yards a quarter.
2nd and 13 from the 22-yard line. Johnson flings one out to Allstott. He gets tackled up at the 28. Keyshawn Johnson tonight has caught 4 passes for 38 yards, 75 catches this season, no touchdowns. The record for most catches in a season without scoring, it's unbelievable. It is Ray Berry in 1960, near the end of his career with Johnny Unitas. That's for a wide receiver. But there it is with 2 running backs, Wilder and Craig, who actually had 85 and 81 games. And then you go to the wideout Berry, who caught no touchdowns from Unitas in 1960. And there is Warwick Dunn on 3rd down, making the catch, beating the defender. London Fletcher trailing him on the play and couldn't get there.
The Buccaneers are now 7 out of 12 converting on 3rd down, because Brad Johnson's getting time to throw and then finding the mismatch with the linebacker Fletcher. What a beautiful pass. Again, Warwick Dunn does not have to slow down at all. The ball comes right to his face mask. Big play.
That was an unbelievable chart back there, Al. Johnny, you must have been doing a lot of damage in Orsville with Jimmy Orr that year.
Oh, yeah. 29-yard gain, 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. Johnson throws, and it's caught by Keyshawn, his 76th grab of the season, and he gets to the 24-yard line. So here go the Bucs all the way from their own 11-yard line.
27 passes now for Brad Johnson, just 1 sack. That allows Keyshawn to push off on McLeon and get into the open. But now, can he get into the end zone?
Wow, Warren cheering Keyshawn on. There's some strange bedfellows, huh?
First and 10 at the 24-yard line. And they're going to get a delay call here as the clock went to 0. Couldn't get the timeout. Warren saying reset the play clock.
Tampa Bay, 5 yards, repeat first down.
Well, they will reset it, but too late to avoid the penalty.
You think that you sense any genuine acrimony between Sapp and Johnson, or is it just two guys who spend a lot of time together?
More of the latter, I think. Packers Jaguars on Monday night. Thursday night on ESPN, Eagles Chiefs. I mean, they're two guys who they love the spotlight. Yeah, they love the spotlight.
Similar personalities. Not a lot of spotlights down in Tampa Bay.
First and 15. Depends what streak you're on. To the 29-yard line. This is Warwick Dunn to the 21. Meanwhile, Warren Sapp, Keyshawn Johnson saying I deal with him because I have to, not because I want to. And then Sheedy saying in Sports Illustrated, he'll talk about your mother, your newborn baby, your grandma. There are no boundaries.
Well, that was not euphemistic on Keyshawn's part.
No.
Cut right to the chase there.
Second and 6 from the 21. Dunn, huge hole, turns the corner, skirts the sideline, and is out of bounds.
Touchdown, Al.
Well, they signaled touchdown.
Yeah, we got the signal.
Hit the pylon.
Jumped inside the pylon. 2 plays in a row. Warwick Dunn has embarrassed Rich Cody.
21 yards. Pylon is out of bounds, but he was inside it as the ball crossed.
Watch Cody come up, but Dunn with too much speed down the sidelines. Now, did he stay in bounds?
In he goes.
But Martz can't challenge.
Right. They have no challenges. There are no challenges left.
How big is that, Al?
21-yard touchdown. Here's Gramatica. Well, in that particular instance, it's big. It would have been first and goal from the 1. Ooh, I tell you what, he may have been out of bounds well upfield. Tampa Bay leading by 7. You know, we talked about the fact that Martz was out of challenges. It's not even a case, and we'll get to it in a second, of whether he was in bounds before he hit the pylon. The question is, you know, where was the ball when he hits the pylon? You'll take a look at it in a second. He was out of bounds just inside the 5-yard line. Here is Trunk Candidate, who takes it up to the 23. Now we'll go back and we'll look at the play. You'll see that he steps out of bounds just inside the 5. If Martz had had a challenge, he could have challenged it and probably would have won it.
Yeah, there's the 5-yard line right there. Watch that foot. He's out of bounds there, and then whether he's in the end zone or not is a moot point.
And the black shoe on that white part of the field makes it pretty easy to see.
Yes, it does. Much easier. He's almost out at the 7. He's definitely out at the 5. And then the question becomes, is the ball in bounds? Or the question would have become, was the ball in bounds even though the pylon's out of bounds? But they would have won a challenge to at least take the ball back to the 5. But when you use the challenges early, as Martz did, you're out of them. At the 24-yard line, this is Marshall Faulk up to the 26.
Challenge everywhere, but not a drop to drink.
Hey, you go back to all the injuries that the Rams had on that defense coming into this game. And that one with our Adam Archuleta out of the lineup and Rich Cody taking over for him. 2 big plays on that drive. Warwick Dunn done good.
Second down and 8 from the 25-yard line. Fake toss. Warner throws. Caught up at the 32 by Falk. But a hold against St. Louis. Well, somebody making Kurt laugh.
That's got to be
probably SAPP. I'm thinking the same thing. It's got to be SAPP.
He is the mayor of the league, man. Now, he and Favre are going to go on the road when they're finished.
Oh, you've got offsetting.
Holding number 50 St. Louis. Illegal contact number 21 Tampa Bay. Those penalties offset. Second down.
Interesting. That's Donnie Abraham on the back of the play. Dungy exercised on the Tampa Bay sideline. And so no play is the net result, and it's second down and 8 as Warner swings one upfield, and it is knocked down by Lynch up at the 50-yard line, intended for Ernie Conwell.
And watch John Lynch do the dead cat bounce. As he comes down, watch him go high for this ball. And Lynch will come right down on his backside.
Oh, that is a bruised coccyx.
It's a what?
You know, that little bone at the bottom of your...
Oh, you're right.
Whew. This plastic
your tailbone, I guess, is the the Keith Jackson take off.
Oh, you're exactly right. Third down and 8 as the pass is caught by Torrey Holt, and he pays an immediate price, and then the ball is loose at the 26-yard line. Are they going to rule it down? Yes, they are. It was Dexter Jackson who made the hit. Warren Sapp is right in there discussing it with the officials.
And it's so quiet in here, Al. I never heard a whistle.
I didn't either.
It's a blitz adjustment route for the Rams. Buccaneers came with the blitz. And there's the throw inside.
The receiver was down by contact. Fourth down.
Lynch picks it up, but that's moot at that point. Jackson made the tackle, stops him at the 35-yard line, and the whistle ends the play.
And then Johnny Lynch takes another shot on the chops on the faux return. The tough sequence for John.
Yeah. It was the right call, but there was a non-whistle. Stop that play.
A late non-whistle, nonetheless.
Inadvertent late non-whistle. No less. You're rubbing off on me in the wrong way, buddy.
Inadvertent late non-whistle that only dogs heard.
That play was ruled down by contact. That's a non-reviewable play. Fourth down.
Well, that's what Dungy wanted to know, if he could review it, but you can't. It's the old inadvertent.
Yeah.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
You know what we're talking about.
We're hearing a lot of explanation from the ref tonight. It's like the pilot who points out too many landmarks on the flight.
Yeah,
you know.
just fly the plane. Here's Baker. His punt fielded at the 29 by Riddell Anthony. Flag is thrown. Penalty. Ball returned to the 47, but the marker is down back at the 32-yard line. That's the signal for. That's the signal. Now Blum realizes that somebody has thrown a flag. Ron was saying an official's timeout, otherwise known as a commercial break. But before that,
you can tell Ron's a golfer. He's used to 6-hour rounds. Come on, Ronnie.
Not at Bel Air.
keep the driver in the bag, baby. Let's play some ball.
Legal block in the back. Number 21, Tampa Bay, 10 yards. That'll be a first down. Timeout.
That's Donnie Abraham, and that's the second penalty on Abraham in the last 4 plays. 9:28 left. On ESPN Sports Center, we'll have all the highlights of tonight's game, as well as reports from around the NFL. All the day sports news at midnight Eastern and 9 p.m. Pacific.
St. Louis decked out in all its finery. Looks beautiful.
The old courthouse. At the 23-yard line on first down, Tampa Bay begins this drive with Mike Allstott trying to spring free. Tries to bounce away and can't. Late in the season, guys. It's the end of November. Little meltdown time of the NFL.
Yeah, the ante's been up. Jimmy Mora, complete Krakatoa flameout yesterday. Jimmy goes off every 5 years ago since Bobby Knight split for Texas. He's the last angry man in Indiana.
What was it he said? Did he have doo-doo in there 4 or 5 years ago? What was it?
I felt like I was at a mall with some kids. He said, that sucked.
Yeah.
It's like a Britney Spears concert.
Second and 11 from the 22. Off Dunn's hands.
I wasn't impugning Britney there. I'm naturally a fan of her work. I'm just saying that, that's how kids talk, you know. Jimmy. And you know what? I'm not unconvinced, Dana. Do you remember that low-high hit that Peyton Manning took late in the preseason? He still doesn't look like himself. I know he's got the jaw, but I'm wondering if he's...
Yeah, I think that jaw is affecting him because you've got to step into every throw you make, and if you're leading with your chin and your chin's broken, that's got to affect any quarterback.
There's Lynch trying to work out the kinks. 3rd and 11. Tampa's 5 out of 5 on 3rd down in this half. Johnson throws, and that's not even close.
Irsay might wire Morris' jaw shut after yesterday.
Now that was a great defensive stand there for the Rams. Stuffing Allstott on first down, brought up 2nd and 3rd and long. And the Ram defense playing a lot better in that series than they have earlier.
I dig Jimmy. It's just, you know, you see him get frenetic like that. It hurts me deep.
Here's Mark Royals sending it to the 37-yard line. And As-Hakim is stopped. The flag comes in.
Boy, both punt return teams with holding penalties back to back. Tampa Bay cost themselves some pretty good field position on the last punt for the Rams, and now the Rams are going to get called, and that will push their offense back.
I think the ref is hosting America's Funniest Home Videos, the new version.
Holding number 23, St. Louis, 10 yards, first down, timeout.
Tain't funny, McGee.
He got his own square.
Rams ball, trailing by 7. Well, tomorrow night at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, you'll see just how provocative Blue can get. It's a brand new episode of NYPD Blue. Tomorrow right here on ABC. Marshall Faulk is in the game. Marshall Faulk has the football. Back spasms and all gain of 1. Let's check in with ED.
Well, Al, linebacker Derrick Brooks said that they have been their own worst enemy about their defense because they set the standard so high in 1999 and 2000 that anything less than great is just not good enough. He said they're playing good, but they've given up some big plays this year. But tonight, the biggest play that they've given up has been 42 yards to a big play offense.
Done a good job, all things considered, though the Rams did move down the field, tie the game up, have the ball right now. Tampa Bay, after reclaiming the lead up by 7, is Warner surveys on the move, and the pass is incomplete, throwing it into a whole bunch of white shirts. Crowd wants a flag. There is none. Intended for Isaac Bruce, covered by, among others, Jamie Duncan. Talking about the standings in the NFC West earlier, there are the Rams 8-1, and then we'll factor in tonight's result shortly. 49ers 8-2 after that win yesterday at Indy. Here are the Falcons right back in the middle of things at 6-4, and in the Central, Chicago has won 8 of 10. The Packers, who are on Monday night next week, a game back, and then the Bucks in a pivotal game for them tonight.
Cannot believe the Niners, man. That is.
Yeah. 3rd and 10 from the 28-yard line. Warner fires, and it's incomplete, and he's lucky it wasn't intercepted by Dexter Jackson. He tried to jam it into Torrey Holt, and he was in the middle of a defensive triangle.
Boy, Jackson, he's got to make this catch. So he can pick it up. He's got a lot of room to run. Not sure where Kurt's going with this one. Right between the defenders, and Jackson drops it twice.
So again, 3 and out for the Rams. And Warner overtly showing his frustration with Mike Martz on the sideline. And that is blocked. Baker's kick is blocked by the Bucs. And it doesn't matter who recovers. It's going to be Tampa's ball at the 20-yard line. Robbie Abdullah with the block. I was talking to Joe Marciano, that man, before the game. I said, who's your hot guy on coverage? He said, Robbie.
That was a jailbreak, Al.
Yep.
They were pouring it.
Rondé Barber and Raheem Abdullah right here. Watch the two of them. Barber goes to the outside. That forces Baker to step right into the block. Watch Abdullah, 27, splitting the blockers. That's good scouting report there, because Baker leaning to his right, that's where the pressure came. That's why they got the block.
Not too often you'll see guys split a punt block.
First punt he's had blocked this season. This is Johnson on first down, going for 6, and would have had it, but he overthrows Todd Yoder, the number 2 tight end.
You can almost pardon Brad for overthrowing Yoder. Yoder hasn't caught a pass all year, but I think Brad saw him so wide open that he hurried the throw.
Warren Sapp trying to work out the kinks. Looks like he has a stitch. 2nd and 10. From the 19-yard line. Here's Allstott. Runs into a lot of traffic. Tommy Polley tried to punch it out from behind. Settles for the tackle at the 19-yard line.
Sapp and Marshall Faulk both suffering some late game back spasms here. Well, Marshall got him mid-game, but the two big guns both suffering the same problem right now.
Lovie Smith's defense. There was Sapp after he came off the field. Trying to work it out. 3rd down and 9 upcoming for the Buccaneers.
Buccaneers have got to be thinking field goal here.
Wonder if Sapp pulled his back, lifting Falk.
Keyshawn Johnson lines up in the slot to the left. Brad Johnson comes back to Dunn, sets up the screen. Good blocking, pays the price as he gets to the 11-yard line. He's short of the first down by 2, and that will set up a Grammatica field goal attempt of about 29 yards.
And that's just about the distance that he missed in the first quarter, wasn't it, Al?
They're actually going to give him a much better spot than I thought, Dan. They're going to be closer to the first down than I thought. They're going to bring the sticks out. I thought he was stopped on the other side of the 10.
Well, Warrick Dunn has really carried this Buccaneer offense here in this second half.
Look at this. Well, he's got it. No. What are they going to say? No?
Well, it's not the strap there that counts. It's the actual metal part of the post right there. So this is a half an inch away.
Not even a link. Look at that.
All right, they need an angstrom.
It's a heck of an effort by Warrick Dunn. It's almost as if he saw where that yellow line was.
They're going to line up to go for it. I thought he gave him a very favorable spot, and Johnson, who needs an inch, has it.
That's when you go for that quarterback sneak. 6'5", 225 pounds. Again, perfect on the sneak.
You know, you take a look at that other play, and again, we go back to they don't have a challenge. Otherwise, you could have challenged the spot on the earlier play.
Well, he challenged the spot earlier in the game. Used both challenges in the first half.
Because I thought Dunn was stopped well shy of where they put the ball down. In the meantime, on 4th and a link, they go for it. It's 1st and goal now at the 8-yard line. Johnson throwing for Johnson, and it's knocked away by Aeneas Williams.
just a little flat on that pass. Hey, Dano, should have put a little more air under it, maybe?
Well, you'd like to think that Keyshawn could out-jump Aeneas Williams at 6'4" and 5'11", but Aeneas, I mean, he ran that pattern perfectly with Keyshawn. It's that wheel route. Keyshawn showing his desperation with this attempt to catch it off the rebound, keeping his eye on the ball and just can't not get it.
That makes it 2nd down and goal. Ball stopped the tailback. Johnson falls down. May have tripped on the center's foot. Or the guard, Cozy Coleman, who was pulling as a flag down.
I think Jeff Christie stepped back on his foot, Al.
And the play was actually, in effect, whistled dead before the snap because of a false start.
Illegal formation. Number 71 was on the end of the line. Tampa Bay. Penalties decline. 3rd down.
Jerry Wunsch.
Yeah, the Buccaneers had 2 tight ends over to the left side of the offensive line and a wide receiver outflanking there. No wide receiver on Wunsch's side on the line of scrimmage.
So now it's 3rd down and goal. Johnson comes up in the shotgun. They'll spot the ball at the 14-yard line.
Look for Warrick Dunn right here. He's been the man.
They send him out into the pattern after a chip block. The pass is underthrown, intercepted by the tackle, Brian Young, playing pass defense. A flag is down at the 22-yard line in the vicinity of Brad Johnson, who went down.
Well, Brian Young was in press coverage.
This is a classic example of a zone blitz as Young drops out and gets his first career interception.
The flag is after the change of possession, so it will not negate the interception.
And Brad doesn't throw many interceptions. That's just 7 all year. Totally confused by Young dropping out.
He doesn't throw many interceptions to begin with, much less to defensive linemen.
Holding. Number 67 offense. Penalties decline. Personal foul.
Blum looks like he's been through the war.
On number 72, St. Louis. That's a 15-yard penalty. 1st down, St. Louis.
That was a Hanatu for the personal foul after the play. But the interception by Young counts. And wasn't that a pretty fascinating series of events? Dungy gives up the opportunity for the field goal to get the touchdown. The next thing you know, the Rams are still down by 7, and they get the ball.
And really all the Buccaneers need there is a field goal to get a 10-point lead. The way their defense is frustrating the Rams offense, that might have been good enough to win the ball game.
I agree. But they were so close. I mean, it was so tempting. 4th down and an inch. And there's Warren Sapp.
Warren's got to grab his helmet, go to work.
Go to work with his team still up by only 7.
And how big was that penalty on Chidi Ahanotu that negates the run back of Brian Young?
Right, 15 yards. Instead of the 36, they take it at the 21-yard line. So now they need 79 yards instead of 64.
No problem.
Not with these guys. They're going for it all right here, and the pass is hauled in by Torrey Holt at the Tampa Bay 43. So they get about half of what they need on one play.
Well, you get the feeling they believe they can hit the switch whenever they want to.
That's because they have so much speed. Holt is no longer running this route on the corner. He's running it on the safety, Jackson. The fake to the inside, that got Jackson to turn around. And the strong gun of Warner puts the ball right on the money. That's when you got great speed, when you can get on the safety and make moves on the safety 25 yards down the field.
1st down at the 42 after a 36-yard pickup. Now Warner under pressure. He gets banged down by Barber as he gets the pass away, incomplete, intended for As-Hakim.
You know, it's like a title fight. You know, you get the big bomb there by the Rams. The next play, Dungy's defense comes back with a good pressure on Warner, forcing a bad throw.
And Dungy ahead on points, went for the knockout blow instead of the field goal.
There you go. No sucker punch there.
2nd down and 10 at the 42-yard line. Warner throws underneath, hauled in at the 39-yard line by Marshall Faulk, was tackled by Derrick Brooks at the 37. Quickly to Melissa.
Al, back spasms must be contagious tonight. Marshall Faulk had them earlier, and Warren Sapp just had them. You saw him on the ground writhing in pain. The trainers massaged his back. They popped it. He stretched it, and he said there was no way he wasn't coming back in.
See how simpatico Missy and I are? Just like Oliver and Lisa Douglas.
Meanwhile, Tom Newton, who was hurt earlier and then got into the game, banged up again, and he looks like he is finished for the night, and that will move Frank Garcia back into his spot.
And Garcia's had problems in that spot. Newton had the good block on the 2-point conversion by Faulk. We'll see what Garcia can do now.
Well, you got to believe when you're watching the St. Louis Rams, huh? I was watching Heaven Can Wait last night. Warren Beatty played quarterback Joe Pendleton, sent from up above, and sometimes you look at Warner and it just seems when the tableau is right, he can step in and do the miraculous.
3rd down and 4 at the 36-yard line. Warner, and a real quick slant to Hakeem, but he throws it behind him.
Wow, a rather earthbound throw there, though.
Well, when you read the blitz is coming. They've got more men coming than you have blocking them, so you have to throw hot. It looked like Kurt got his feet tangled up a little bit, and that's why this ball went behind Hakeem.
And now the Rams are going to go for it on 4th down and 4 at the 36.
Question for Tampa: did they bring more pressure, or did they play back?
Bucks line up with 5 guys along the line. They blitz. Warner throws, and it's intercepted by Donnie Abraham at the 34-yard line. Intended for Torrey Holt. Abraham reads it beautifully, even though Tampa blitzes man-to-man coverage. He reads it perfectly, gets the pick.
That's preparation. You know what the team's adjustments are, then you use your athletic ability to make the play.
Bucks ball. Bucks on top 24-17, and they have the ball. Reminder, Sunday television event that's been building since the premiere. It's Alias. ABC this Sunday, 9 Eastern Pacific and 8 Central Time. Now Tampa, and we begin with a whistle on 1st down.
Grant Wistrom got his money's worth if it's on him.
Yeah.
He just drilled Davey Moore.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense came into the neutral zone, causing the offensive man to jump 5 yards. Repeat 1st down.
Let's go back to the interception. The Buccaneers are going to bring a weak side blitz. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's more than the Rams can handle, so Warner has to throw the blitz adjustment. Barber comes on the blitz. Steve White and Donnie Abraham, the veteran that he is, picks off his 28th pass of his career.
1st and 5 after the whistle at the 39-yard line. All stop. They string him out and knock him down for a loss back to the 31-yard line. And the Rams are going to take a timeout. That is their 2nd. Tampa Bay leading 24-17 with 3:40 left after a Ram timeout. Saturday, Miami, Virginia Tech early. Oregon State, Oregon, Notre Dame, Purdue in the middle of the afternoon. Texas, Colorado, primetime here on ABC. 2nd down and 7, and Johnson again falls down, but this time gets up and then gets sacked back at the 32-yard line. 2nd time Brad has been tripped in this quarter, backpedaling. Sean Moran gets a gift sack.
And the Rams use their final timeout, and I like that use of timeouts. especially after the Cozy Coleman will step back and step on the top of Brad Johnson's foot right there. See that right foot of Brad? He goes down again. Yeah, the Buccaneers had a free 5 yards off the Grant Wistrom offsides penalty. Then Allstott loses a couple of yards, and now they're stumbling and fumbling around here. They're not taking advantage of this opportunity to close this one out.
Rams taking their timeouts, taking 2 of them here, and +1 that they took earlier on the 2-point conversion. No team that has lost to the Buccaneers has ever won the Super Bowl that season, so the Rams could be looking that oddity in the face tonight.
Wow, that's a surrealistic little nugget there.
It is. 3rd down and 11 at the 33-yard line as Johnson retreats in the shotgun, throws underneath to Allstott, but right there to grab him around the ankles and knock him down at the 32 is Brian Young.
Again, dropping out from the defensive line, playing pass defense, picking up the interception last possession, this time stuffing Allstott after the catch.
Brian Young. Yeah, he's listed as a tackle. He may make the Pro Bowl as a cornerback.
I tell you what. Look at him in space, closing, finishing.
They got him back returning the punt.
Mark Royals to kick. Oz Hakeem, who's fumble prone, as we all know, back to receive the kick. They use all of the play clock, and Royals really booms this one, a beauty, to the 16-yard line. Hakeem has space down the sideline, cuts it back, spin move all the way to the 45-yard line. Oz Hakeem. The downside is he fumbles. The upside is he gives you run backs like that. Monday Night Football being brought to you by Nissan. Driven. Dell Enterprise Systems that are easy to build, easy to own, easy as Dell. And Burger King, home of the Whopper.
Clearly a case of Mark Royals out kicking his coverage. Hakeem ran it down and then brought it back.
So now Warner goes to work. No timeouts. They can stop the clock. The clock will stop at the 2-minute warning. Royals with a 51-yard punt, 28-yard return. Kurt retreats on 1st down, slings it over the middle of the traffic, and it's picked off by John Lynch. And Lynch returns the ball to the 50-yard line. May have been tipped. It winds up in the hands of Lynch.
It was tipped, Al, by the other big play defender for the Buccaneers, Derrick Brooks. So SAPP has made plays. Derrick Brooks comes up with this one, and John Lynch finishes off with the interception. Watch Brooks go high and just get 2 fingers on that ball.
It's like Marshall said, a leader at every level of the defense, and they're all coming in here. All checking in at crunch time.
So now the Bucs have it, and the Rams don't have a timeout, but Tampa Bay cannot run the clock all the way out, because it will stop at the 2-minute warning.
I think they might have learned that lesson by way of what the Bears did last week in Tampa.
You bet.
SAPP was out of his mind tonight. You got that montage.
So ball security is the key right here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Run a conservative play. They give it to Allstott. Mike stays in bounds. It looked like he was he may have gone out of bounds, which would have been a major favor to the Rams. But he's tackled inbounds, picks up about 9 yards, and now the clock will stop at the 2-minute warning.
He's one of the few guys who leaves a dent on the field after he's tackled.
2-minute warning after the 9-yard pickup by Allstott. And in a game they have to win, the Bucs are 120 seconds away from doing just that. Tampa Bay leading by a score of 24-17. And a reminder, Sunday on the Wonderful World of Disney, the Gale Sayers Brian Piccolo story reprised. Brian's song this Sunday night here on ABC.
You know, even with computer-generated images, they can't recreate Sayers' moves.
No.
they were extremely lateral.
Well, Kurt Warner in his first 14 home games, as you can see, had almost a 4-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. in the last 3 plus, 3 TDs, 10 picks. Tonight, the Rams have turned the ball over 5 times. They've had a punt blocked. And also, they had what I thought was a turnover that was challenged, and the Rams won that one. That could have been another turnover. They had 8 turnovers against the Saints in their only other loss this season.
They were outplayed tonight, Al.
Yes, they were. No question. No question.
The Buccaneers have an 8-minute time of possession advantage. They kept the offense off the field. They made the Rams drive the length of the field, and they were opportunistic, and they could get their hands on the ball.
Well, this is a first down. In effect, it would end the game, and it is a first down. Don't even have to measure, and that's going to do it. Clyde Christensen, the offensive coordinator, Monty Kiffin, the defensive coordinator, and Tony Dungy and his staff and gang have come in here. They had to win. They do win, and as we said at the top of the game, if they come out of here somehow with a win, and they were about a 10-point dog tonight, they'd be 5-5 and looking to 2 games in the next 2 weeks against Cincinnati and Detroit. So all of a sudden you go from 4-5 to maybe 7-5. First time in Warner's 2.5-year career he's been under 50%.
Well,
as a starter.
There's the brutal truth of the NFL. Now you got to watch out for the malaise against Cincy and Detroit. You win the big one, you got to get your game face right back on.
Little kneel down, that'll do it. The Rams are now tied for first place in the NFC West with San Francisco, even though if the season ended today, the Rams would be the champs by virtue of having beaten them. The two will meet here on December 9th. The Rams now go to Atlanta next week in what becomes a very important game. The suddenly resurgent Falcons are 6-4. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are right back in the middle of the playoff picture as they get ready to take on Cincinnati.
And you would think that Tony Dungy's game plan defensively will be copied by every opponent the Rams face the rest of the year.
You guys are getting back hot again.
So the Rams go to 8-2. Bucks go to 5-5. Wrap it up. Play of the game when we come back. Buccaneers upset the Rams tonight, 24-17. Let's go to the field. Melissa Stark.
All right, Al, 3 sacks by the Buccaneers tonight, 2 by this guy right here, Warren Sapp. How were you able to shut down this high-powered Rams offense?
Well, it was just a matter of keeping the ball in front of us, and they got a few big plays, and they made a couple plays here and there, but we were just going to keep rallying and keep lining up and keep hitting them and punishing them and make them work for every yard they got.
An absolutely critical game. Can you put in perspective what this win means for the team?
Well, right now, we ain't even thinking about what it means to this ball club. We're going to get on the plane. We're going to enjoy this for 24 hours, and we're going to prepare the next Wednesday to go to Cincinnati and get us another win, because the only way you start a streak is with 1, and we got 1 right now.
Warren, thanks. Let's go over to Eric.
Thanks. I'm here with Warwick Dunn. Warwick, running, receiving. Why do you always play so well against the Rams?
Well, it's a challenge. Those guys have a high-powered offense, and what you hear about the Bucs is that we can't score, we can't move the football. And tonight we executed, we made plays, and our defense played well.
Why do you guys always play so tough against each other, both of these teams?
Well, we have to play physical. You have to play this team physical, try to take them out of their game. We put a lot of pressure on the quarterback tonight. He made some throws, and our offense, the offensive line blocked tonight. Those guys down the line of scrimmage was able to have some runs.
Thanks, Warwick.
Appreciate it, man.
Al?
All right, thank you, Eric. Now it's time for the key play of the game. Speaking of Warwick Dunn, the play of the game is his touchdown. 17-17 was the score. Warwick Dunn culminating a 90-yard drive on a play on which, had the Rams had a challenge, they might have said he was out of bounds at the 5, but too little too late. Turns out to be a done deal. 24-17 Tampa Bay. Al Michaels for our whole crew saying goodnight from St. Louis with a reminder that next week we'll be in Jacksonville. It's Green Bay taking on the Jaguars. Stay tuned for your late local news. Or on the West Coast, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Keyword Monday Night Football. And this has been a presentation of ABC Sports, continuing the tradition of excellence.